Sorcerer, pick up Erza at the start. Author. Big Knife. Chapter 176. Thunder, Ming. 8 exclamation mark dash. Poison Hemlock Valley Big Cave. Wendy then walked to the damp and dark valley with Xialulu, who had lost her strength. We don't even know what Fez looks like or size. How do we find it? The vision was blocked, and it was impossible to see what was in front of him. Don't panic. Concentrate on feeling the magic. Xialulu accompanied Wendy. Wendy took a deep breath. The air here is so fresh, Xialulu replied, because of the low temperature and high humidity. At this time, Wendy felt her legs itch and looked down. Whoa, whoa, whoa tilde. Suddenly seeing a naughty little bug crawling up her legs, Wendy was startled immediately. Buzz tilde. The sound of a dense flapping of wings sounded. No I saw a dense number of flying insects rushing towards my face, and Wendy shook her body in a panic, making Xialulu in her arms feel sick for a while. She complained, there are many bugs in places with high humidity. Wendy had a tear in her eyes and looked very loving. Holding a small fist to cheer for himself, I know. Keep going. On the wall above Wendy's head, an octopus-like shadow hangs upside down. Muttered, what? Just so small. What a joke. Kyokai, how can this be enough to fill your stomach? Wendy and Xialulu were shocked. The reaction was very quick and turned around, and saw a demon's face head-on. The demon is one of the 9 demon gates. The boy Erza. Erza roared, how dare you force me such a lousy job? He banged at Wendy. Boom dash. The ground was dusty. Wendy's reaction was equally dissatisfied. Her body quickly retreated, and she temporarily distanced herself from Erza. Tartaros? That's the guy who started fifth? Wendy hurriedly asked. That Erza wasn't going to introduce herself at all. Seeing that he missed a hit, he rushed up again, and was bound to kill Wendy at the fastest speed. Wendy was a little embarrassed to dodge the attack again. While retreating, he said, what should I do? Now is not the time to fight him. Xialulu also persuaded, let's run. He is not an opponent you can solve alone. Boom boom boom. Erza was chasing after him. Even Wendy couldn't get rid of him no matter how fast he escaped. I can't escape, I can only bite the bullet, Wendy said. Reaching out and putting Xialulu in a safe place, she turned her head and waved her hand, and a magic circle appeared out of thin air. All attribute resistance increased. God's crown. Whole body physical enhancement. Knight of God. Double attack. Double defense. Double speed. Additional. Dao magic is attached to the body, and Wendy's aspects have been greatly improved. The body sinks and the mouth bulges. Take a deep breath. Roar of the dragon. Roar and spit. The magic of the sky was released in an instant, tearing the air and destroying the earth, rushing towards Erza. Naturally, Erza couldn't be hit. The one who jumped up and came to Wendy. Haha, are you acting so foolishly? You are so foolish. Is it really okay? Dragon's claws. Not to be outdone, Wendy raised her leg and kicked Erza's head. That Erza was not wrong at all, and he faced it straight up. Boom. The soles of the feet and the head touched together, and a gust of wind was instantly set off. But Erza was unscathed. Wow, the 5 swords in the world, Animaru. Erza held the knife with both hands, and crossed it left and right in front of him to release the attack. Wendy, get out of the way, Xialulu quickly reminded. But Wendy hasn't been able to reflect this, and can only watch the attack play out. Here it is tilde. Here tilde. The Bbook jumps. A man with a mace jumped up behind Erza. Thunder, Ming. 8. Gua. He swings his mace. The mace was wrapped with a blue thunder spectacle, and it fell with a bang. Boom. Unprecedented explosions. The mace fell from the sky and hit Erza's head, instantly hitting it to the ground. The earth is broken. Falling stones in the valley. From the depths, many bats panicked and fled the valley in a hurry. The explosion shattered the stones on the ground. The strong wind they carried pushed Wendy and Xialulu to the ground several times, lying on the ground to cover their faces to defend against the flying stones. When the strong wind dissipated, only then did Wendy and Xialulu see clearly what happened just now. A handsome man was holding a monstrous stone mace that was pitch black all over. Holding the mace in one hand and carrying it on his shoulder, there is a kind of wild and violent beauty. Ask for flowers, brother Dieter. Wendy and Xialulu immediately put on bright and happy smiles after seeing the man's face clearly, lying on the ground cheering. That's right, it was Dieter, and the mace in his hand was modified from a stone pillar when it came, and it was painted black, but he covered it with armed color to prolong its service life. Aren't you hurt? Dieter left the fallen Erza and came to Wendy to check her physical condition up and down. Fine. You came too soon. Wendy would be hurt if you were late. The 2 little guys were busy talking, and after seeing acquaintances, they turned into chattering little dolls and complained about this place. Dieter listened carefully, nodding in response from time to time. Damn it, who dared to hit me? Behind, Erza, who was dazed by the blow, shook his head and got up from the ground. Several tentacles on his body hit the ground, venting his anger at this moment. So what if I beat you, and I kill you? Does it make you proud of bullying our guild's cute little girl? Dieter retorted. That Erza and its fury, staring, arms crossed in front of him again. 5 swords in the world. Shazu 1. When needed, a slashing wave that was stronger than the cross slash that had been issued earlier. Tova. Chopping waves are unprecedentedly powerful. A layer of ground was lifted, and the turbulent waves stabbed, blooming with dazzling brilliance. Do not. Dieter reached out and grabbed Wendy and Xiaolulu and rushed deeper into the valley. The purpose of this trip is to destroy Fez. Dieter was not in a hurry to defeat this man, and sent Wendy and Xiaolulu to Feith first, and then waited for the battle. Ha ha ha. You can't escape. Ezel thought that Dieter was not his opponent and fled, and immediately followed closely behind. Four arms keep slashing and trying to slow Dieter's speed. Dieter, can't you beat that demon? Xiaolulu held Dieter's arm and was puzzled. Why did she run away? The most powerful person in the guild should be Dieter. Why would it be better to run away and just deal with the opponent? Brother Dieter. Wendy is also very curious. She has never doubted the unique power, just feels a little strange. Second. Chapter 177. There are still 3 people left to transform into a dragon. Don't worry. The air here is good and wait for a while. Dieter didn't say it clearly, he kept dodging strangely, letting the slashes be so intense that they couldn't hurt Dieter in the slightest. Listening to this, Xiaolulu and Wendy don't ask any more questions. The air here is really fresh, and it's okay to wait a little longer. Soon, Dieter brought Wendy and Xiaolulu to the bottom. There is a whole body of white jade column, the top of which is a group of faces, which seems to be shouting to the sky. This is Fez. Is this Fez? How can something so big be broken? Fez is high and needs to be activated or stopped here. Both Xiaolulu and Wendy looked up. This huge thing exudes an ominous aura, making it unbearably timid. This is Fez. There are still 5 minutes left before the activation, and the concentration of magic particles 8 or 7 at close range is extraordinary. It stinks. Ezel, who was chasing a few people behind him, also stopped. Looking at the huge Fez weapon in front of him, his face was filled with disgust. Randomly hung up a wild laugh again. However, this magic particle can destroy magic, take away all the magic power on the continent, and our spell will rule the world. But until then, I'll tear you to pieces. Ezel rushed over, waving 4 arms to cut out the sharp edges, tearing the space and slashing past. You really think I can't beat you? Dieter was speechless, the fiery flames roaring. A fire fist burst out, and the extreme fiery temperature drowned the slash, and even burned out the few sharp slashes. 5 swords, Animaru. Ezel showed no signs of weakness, and crossed his arms as he watched the surging flames. Fires a cross-shaped slash that can cut through cave walls. That slash tore apart the flames and slashed at Dieter. Empty shock. Dieter's right fist was shrouded in white light and swung forward. The cracks in the space were extended, and the slashes rushed towards the slash like spider silk. The ground beneath his feet shattered. The smashing gravel was propelled by an invisible force, instantly shattering the cross-shaped blow, and continuing to extend it without compromising. 5 swords in the world. Shazu won. Ezel saw that the slash was shaken away, and he understood that the move was not enough to resist. Use the enhanced version of Animaru immediately. A stronger slashing wave is coming, and Dieter is bound to be killed here. It seems to be hanging with power. The astonishing slashing wave meets the remaining power of the air shock, but the attack that should have been cut off failed, and the powerful air shock even easily cracked with the slashing wave. How can it be? Ezel exclaimed, her body unhurriedly retreating, ready to avoid the edge for a while. But he still underestimated the unique attack. The spare energy in the empty space was chasing after him, making him understand that dodging is ineffective. The state thinks on the body. A more powerful force burst out. The 4 arms changed in an instant, from ordinary arms to 4 hilts, and other parts of the body were ironed, which improved their defense and attack power. Slash mode. My demon sword has become even sharper. Ezel was excited, and waved his arm again. Demon sword middle dot Sanryu. Giant chopping wave is used. Dieter's empty shock could no longer maintain its smashing power, and was shattered by a stronger slash. Both disappeared. Ha ha ha, my spell can cut everything. Seeing that the attack was cut off, Ezel laughed wildly, and was quite satisfied with the power of this blow. I don't understand what you are happy about. Gah. Dieter's body flashed instantly, and he came to the back of Ezel's head, holding up the stone mace covered in armed color. Stab stab tilde. The blue electric arc jumped on the mace, brewing endless thunder, and the power was enough to shatter everything. Break it to me. Ezel's response was not slow, and he wasn't surprised when he knew that Dieter came behind him in an instant, and the power on his body surged again. The slash that contained incomparably powerful condensed again. He swung out almost instantly, wanting to behead before Dieter. Thunder. Ming. 8. Gua. Thorn Lala dash. The mace carries the arc of thunder, buzzing like a sting. Swing the mace. A blue arc fell from the sky. Boom dash. The 2 attacks collided instantly. The roar resounded in the canyon, and the echo echoed in the valley. The collision of energy shrouded the figures of the 2 people, and the spherical explosive energy wave crushed the ground. A broken body leapt out of the valley. That is Ezel's corpse, and his strength is extraordinary, but it depends on who you are compared to. In front of Dieter, no matter how powerful Ezel's slash is, it can't resist a single strike of thunder and gossip. Boom. His corpse smashed into pieces of boulders, and he continued to fly upside down without losing his strength. The rumbling sound of devastation could not be stopped. It disappears after the T-cover kung fu. He didn't know where he was hit by Dieter. But what is certain is that Erza must die without a body, and can only return to the core of Tartaros to reshape his body. Well, that's not right either. Maybe the core of Kung Fu Hell has been destroyed by the people of the guild. Killing the boy Che Erza of the first door of the 9 ghosts. Get 10 skill points. Do you want to add points? The voice in his head told Dieter that Erza died completely. Add it. Dieter agreed to add points and successfully stacked the level to level 7, one step closer to dragon transformation. There are still 3 more. It will be soon. Dieter is a little excited. Just need to defeat 3 more Tartaros demons, and he can eat the black dragon when it appears. At that time, it will be necessary to use the eastern blue dragon to tear the western black dragon several openings. Impressive. Brother Dieter is really strong, and if he smashed that demon out at once, I'm afraid it's impossible to survive. Xiaolulu and Wendy have little stars in their eyes. Seeing Dieter's incomparably excited eyes, the expression on his face exudes infinite happiness. Practice hard, and you will be so good. Dieter walked up to Wendy, reached out and messed with Wendy's little 1.1 nose and said gently. Wendy blushed instantly and lowered her head shyly. Hey, don't mess around, man. Xiaolulu hurriedly reprimanded Dieter's rude behavior like a calf, without giving any face. It's okay Xiaolulu. Wendy quickly appeased Xiaolulu and told her not to say such fierce words. And Dieter smiled. Crouching down and rubbing Carla's head, he also praised, Xiaolulu is also very cute, and she is very good at taking care of people. If she learns transformation magic, she must be a super cute girl. Immediately, Xiaolulu's face, who had always been stubborn, also had a blush on her face. Turning his head, Sandia said, of course. His voice was also very coquettish, and he forgave Dieter's rude behavior very gracefully. Dieter smiled. Chapter 178, Dragon Slaying Profound Truth. Wait a moment, the countdown on Fez wakes up a few people. I don't have time to talk, let's destroy Faith. Dieter, just break it up. Xiaolulu said hurriedly. Wendy is also on the lookout. Dieter, however, turned around in front of Fifth lovingly, stroking the huge weapon and shaking his head. I could easily destroy it, but Wendy, are you really asking me to help? That should be your job, Dieter said. Xiaolulu and Wendy were stunned. They looked at each other and remained silent. Wendy said, Dieter is right. Lucy and Natsu have high hopes for me, helping me defend against the enemy who led me destroy Fez. Brother Dieter has already helped me too much. Leave it to me to destroy Faith. Come on. Xiaolulu also knows that Wendy has always wanted to grow into a magician who is on her own. I also understand Dieter's painstaking efforts. At this time, he didn't say anything, cheered Wendy up, and at the same time had a little doubt in his heart about what he had foreseen. There is no reason why Dieter can't destroy it. Dragon 25. Wendy took a deep breath, used dragon slaying magic, and bulged her legs high, brewing magic with amazing power. Roar. Dragon Slayer magic used. The roaring attack blasted towards Fez. Boom. The explosion sounded, and the astonishingly powerful dragon-killing magic hit the huge pillar. But it didn't break as expected. How come? Looking at the intact Faith, Wendy's eyes narrowed. She tried her best to bring Faith any harm. 3 minutes left. Is this Fez really that hard? Xiaolulu also said differently. Looking at the time on it, I know that it is too late to think so much. He hurriedly turned his head to look at Dieter. It's too late. I can only let you do it. Wendy was paralyzed to the ground in frustration. At this moment, she is very self-blame, and the task given to her could not be completed, which made her very uncomfortable. Want to break it? Dieter walked behind Wendy, crouched down and put his hand on her hair. Think, but I don't have enough strength to break it. I can only leave it to you, brother Dieter. Wendy was frustrated. Dieter, however, got up and looked at the huge Fez. Said, no, I believe that you can break it. The power of Dragon Slayer is infinite. As long as you have that belief, it is enough to destroy it. Believe that you can. Wendy and Xiaolulu both looked at Dieter, surprised that he could say such a thing at this moment. Dieter didn't shy away from looking at both. He took a deep breath and said, the air here is very fresh. The reason is that the magic barrier particles are relatively heavy. This is a very good opportunity for you, Wendy. Xiaolulu and Wendy both looked at Dieter curiously. I don't understand why we talk about air at this juncture. What else is called opportunity? The power of dragon-slaying magic lies in the power of the dragon. Dieter wakes up to both. Xiaolulu's eyes widened in an instant, and she said with ecstasy, yeah. The air here is fresh. As long as you eat the air, you can really increase your strength, and the power of the dragon may really be able to. After speaking, he looked at Dieter with even more admiration. Yes, only Natsu and Gagil in the Fairy Tale Guild understand dragon-slaying magic. The latter has the face of a stranger who is not allowed to enter. Therefore, Wendy could not get the main effect and promotion method of Dragon Slayer magic. But, in the Fairy Tale Guild, there is a knowledgeable and powerful Dieter. Although he usually likes fishing, he is often absent. But I often see magic books reading, and I am very wise and understand the tempering of dragon slaying magic, knowing that this moment is really a good opportunity. Can I really? Wendy is also just around the corner. The power of the dragon is the threshold of entry for all dragon slayers. Only the dragon slayer who can use the power of the dragon can be called the dragon slayer, and she has longed for it for a long time. But there has been no guidance. Of course, you have to believe that you can do it. The power of the dragon sounds very powerful, but Wendy, you have also worked very hard after joining the guild. In addition, the air quality here is enough for you to master the power of the dragon, so do it with confidence. Dieter gives encouragement. After hearing the words of encouragement, Wendy took a deep breath and decided to give it a try. Close your eyes and feel the freshness in the air. Soon open your mouth and start swallowing air. Xiaolulu immediately retreated to Dieter's side. She could feel the thinness of the surrounding air, especially the red and fresh air. Boom. The power exploded, and the ground around Wendy's body was shattered by the powerful force. And her body was surrounded by power. Her blue hair instantly turned into cherry blossom pink, and small white wings appeared on her arms and wrists and on the ankles of her feet. And she has a pair of large white wings on her back. She has the power of the dragon. Wendy actually mastered the power of the dragon. Xiaolulu rejoiced. And Wendy also clearly felt a steady stream of power in his body, which was unprecedentedly powerful. Even if she is sure to let her go against Ezel, she will beat the opponent. Wendy jumped into the air. Her hands are wrapped around the gust of wind, and everything in this space is under her control. Dragon slaying profound truth. The strong wind swept through and surrounded Wendy's figure, which was as powerful as a living goddess of war. Zopa middle. Sky 870 where. Boom. A raging tornado roared. The truly powerful force breaks open the hard surface of Fez and completely destroys it. I made it. Wendy was ecstatic, and as the dragon power was used up, a burst of emptiness in her body fell to the ground. What? Fez has been destroyed and the countdown has not stopped. Dieter pretended to be surprised. Immediately, Wendy and Xiaolulu also looked at the ruined Fez ruins, and the countdown continued. Even destroying Fez did not completely destroy Fez's launch program. It shouldn't be like this. Fez, Wendy and Xiaolulu were both dumbfounded. They never expected that Fez, who was destroyed, did not stop, and was still in the final countdown. I couldn't stop it. Wendy blamed herself. Dieter didn't speak behind him. In fact, seeing Wendy being so pitiful, he wanted to say that it would be useless to stop this. There are also countless Fez on the continent. At this time, Xiaolulu said, "It's not impossible." Wendy looked at Xiaolulu a little curiously. Right now, Faith is absorbing a large amount of magic particles. If these magic particles can be converted into other attributes and the magic circle can be destroyed by self-discipline, Faith should explode. Xiaolulu said, "Where did you hear these things?" Wendy asked. Chapter 179, Dieter vs Tartaros 6 Demons. Xiaolulu replied, "With my ability to predict the future, I have foreseen the future that Faith did not activate. To be precise, I have found it. From the many possibilities in the future that Fez did not start was found." Talking, Xiaolulu walked to Faith and pointed at it. "The future me seems to be moving the magic circle here like this. As long as I touch this text, Faith will explode when I touch it. In other words, we too must die." Wendy froze. Xiaolulu said, "Wendy, I can't predict the scope of the explosion, and I can't predict it, so please ask Brother Dieter to take you farther, and leave it to me here." "What are you talking about, Xiaolulu?" "No way." Wendy struggled to get up to stop, but the after effects of using the power of the dragon made her feel powerless. Drop. Just when Xiaolulu and Wendy were talking, Dieter came to the front, reached out and clicked on the button, successfully triggering the self-discipline collapse, about to explode. "What are you doing? Trigger now, we'll all die here." Both of them drank loudly. Dieter twitched his lips, grabbed Xiaolulu's clothes, and waved his hand to evoke Wendy, which flashed instantly. "You two little guys don't take me too seriously. Anyway, buddy, I'm also the strongest in the guild. Although teleportation can't be done, it's not a problem to leave here with a few flashes." Dieter murmured. His body quickly dodged away, and he came to a cliff 887 in a few flashes. Boom dash, boom 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 dash. The explosion sounded in the valley, successfully organizing the release of Fez at the last moment. "The magic on the continent is temporarily safe." "Brother Dieter, why didn't you say it earlier? You had to wait until Wendy was about to cry." Wendy rubbed the tears that hadn't spilled out of her eyes. On the other hand, Xiaolulu patted her waist a little angry, and looked up at the tall Dieter very unhappy. I see that your conversation is so warm, and I don't want to disturb you." Dieter laughed. After looking at the location of the explosion, he murmured, "Then it's time for Fairy Tail to fight back." Wendy nodded sharply. However, her physical weakness made it impossible for her to continue fighting. "Next, leave the battle to me. Wendy and Xiaolulu have a good rest here, and return to the guild after recovering. I believe everything will recover by then," Dieter said. Wendy and Xiaolulu nodded vigorously. They know that the current state is not suitable for continuing to fight, so they will be very obedient. At the same time, he is also full of confidence in Dieter's strength. The strongest person in the guild is about to end this boring Tartaros, and it won't be long before everything will disappear. Sudden, a figure teleported to this place. Dieter turned his back to him. Wendy and Xiaolulu, Please take care of you for a while, Mest. The person who came was Mest of the Senate. He looked at the detonated site and nodded. Yes, Mr. Dieter. Gah. Disappear. Dieter left, leaving Mest and Wendy for a long time. The battlefield changes rapidly. Since the core of hell has not been destroyed, most of the demons have been reborn. The people of the guild each have their own opponents. Inside the palace, Kyoka knelt down on one knee and reported the situation. Pluto Lord Margier. The strength of the enemy is beyond our imagination. The Fez plan failed. Erza, Jackal, Framwolf, Sealer, etc. have all been wiped out, and now they have all been resurrected. But I'm afraid. On the throne, Margier propped his chin on the back of his hand, and said indifferently, the resurrected Sealer and the core of hell are also defeated. How could? Kyoka was stunned, and hurriedly said, right now, the only thing I can do is let the president. That won't work. Before Kyoka could finish, Margier refused. He explained that the current magic power is not enough to wake up the president, and the magic power must be eliminated before N can be resurrected. Kyoka was puzzled, however. The Fez plan to eliminate magic power has failed. However, Margier smiled. You don't see ... You don't see the big picture yet, Kyoka. It was a chess piece, just a chess piece. Margier is the perfect strategist. Looking at the big picture, the collapse of Fez is just one pawn, and there is no problem at the moment. Soon, the magic of this world will be gone. Kyoka felt puzzled, and looked at CFBB, Dogegear on the throne in a puzzled way, wanting to see some clues from his face. Humans of damn it, there's nothing wrong with the big picture, but I hate having people stain my yard. It's time to use Allegria. Margier said. He raised his fingers to his forehead. And at this moment, Warren is using chanting to talk to the people in the guild. Sudden. It's the Sorcerer's Guild. Fairy tale, right? Margier interrupted. The people in the guild were instantly alert. Warren scolded. FK off. Who are you? Why did you break into my thoughts? I am Margier . But you don't need to remember, because you have no tomorrow. Margier . said. Boom. At the same time, all the people on the island only felt a tremor, and it seemed that something had changed on the island under their feet. What's the matter? The ground. The body was caught by something. What the hell is this? Why does it entangle us? What is this? It is about to be absorbed. Moment. The members of the guild were all entangled with strange substances, and their bodies were constantly being absorbed. All were not spared. This time, they almost wiped out their entire army. Kyoka over there also realized something and hurriedly said, Sir Margier, in this way. The soldiers of our guild also. Yet Margier fearless. Erosion, living sacrifice, death and rebirth, despair and hope, a foolish race. The island of the underworld itself is a huge prison, a prison inside the body of a beast called Hades. Margier and the other surviving members walked slowly outside. Sudden. Margier, who started out, stopped. Huh? There was one. No, two escaped Allegria. In terms of probability, it's only about 1 in a billion. How lucky this is. It shouldn't be. How bad luck. Go kill those two people. Yes. Several still alive demons received orders and agreed to walk outside to kill those who were not swallowed. Inside the huge underworld beast, Dieter dangled in the huge monster with his hands behind his back, glancing at the devoured members and shaking his head. It's a pity that these people still need me to save you guys. Dieter mumbles. Find an open area and sit straight and stretch out and wait for the enemy. He believed that those people would come to find him first. Cuckoo. Not long after, footsteps sounded slowly, and members of the demons appeared in front of them. Dieter squinted at the many demons in front of him. 6 demons. Margier didn't show up. It seems that the 6 of you are enough to kill me, right? Dieter laughed. The 6 people in front of them are, Tarafuser, Black Archbishop Keys, Absolute Zero Silver, Goddess of the Slave Planet Kyoka, and the Resurrected Tempesta and Jackal. Chapter 180, Overwhelm the Demons, Kill one person first. It was you who killed Sealer. Kyoka was the most angry. She watched the guy in front of her crush Sealer alive. The teeth were already itchy. I can't wait to peel Dieter alive, so that he has nowhere to regret it. You bastard. I will definitely detonate you this time. The second is Jackal, but he knows that the person in front of him will kill him, and the method is extremely cruel. Several people did not speak after that. But obviously the expression is not so serious. Maybe it's the reason that Dieter is only one person, and they are 6 demons. Boom. The Pluto beast was torn apart, and many demons widened their eyes. What happened? The Pluto beast was actually cut down? Could it be someone else? Wasn't she the one to deal with? The 6 demons in front of them all said different things. Looking at the violent shaking, the Pluto beast that fell from the sky couldn't believe it. Is Lucy being dealt with by Hades? Margier? It's really hard for her, Dieter muttered. He thought that Hades would keep his identity and keep hiding. I just didn't expect that it was him who dealt with Lucy. And Lucy was also tortured severely. It looks like I don't have time to catch up with you guys. Dieter retracted his gaze and walked towards the 6 demons. In the first step, Dieter's whole body was covered with dark and reddish keratin, overlord color entanglement, armed color covering, flowing cherry wrap. In the second step, The Pluto beast that fell from the sky vibrated violently again. Surging power leaked from Dieter's body. Eyes are red. Seeing and smelling color continue to use superior. Kyoko understood that the person in front of him was by no means simple, and there was no thought of letting the demons follow one by one. Drink loudly. She bears the brunt of stripping Dieter's 5 senses. Mimi. The Tempesta then detonated a gust of wind through sound effects, and rushed towards Dieter, who was deprived of his 5 senses. Go to hell. Jackal waved, detonating Dieter's body. The remaining few people did not shoot. In their opinion, Dieter could not survive this round of attacks. 5 senses peeling? Kind of interesting. Dieter was in a state of chaos, unable to hear, smell, see, touch, and taste invisible. Of course, the so-called stripping of the 5 senses under the perception of seeing, hearing, and color is just a joke. He could clearly feel the gust of wind and the explosion coming. That moment, Dieter's body sank slightly, and the ground beneath his feet shattered. Peng. Hey! The body bounces away, bearing the brunt of the storm that wants to die. Careful! That Kyoko immediately reminded the partner beside him. Tempesta hurriedly dodged to the side, but his trajectory was nowhere to be seen under Dieter's sight. Just dodged aside. His face was just clasped by a palm. The impact of the ejection caused Tempesta to lean back, and Dieter accidentally knocked one to the ground. Grab one. Dieter laughed, squatting down on one knee, only grabbing Tempesta's head with one hand. Then solve one first. Empty shock. Dieter muttered to himself, a white halo wrapped around his palm, which exploded in an instant. Boom. The ability to shake the fruit was fully motivated, and the ground split into a deep groove at that moment. Fragmented and stretched out cobweb-like cracks. The earth seems to have been cut down. Ha ha. Noah. Dark red blood dripped from Dieter's palm, and Storm, who had been caught first on the ground, still lost his head. Dead must not die. Damn it. One blow killed a member of our 9 demon gates. This guy. The strength is too terrifying. We are 9 demon gates, using Zeref's spells, and they were wiped out with a single blow of magic. How can it be? The remaining 5 members stood tall. Seeing the unique hearts that slowly got up, they couldn't help but clench together tightly. As demons, they felt fear for the first time. Use all your strength and never show mercy. This guy is much stronger than others. Kyoko gritted her teeth. The body burst out with strong power, and she showed a posture that belonged to the devil. Other demons were not to be outdone. Immediately release his own power, show the state of the devil, and burst out with strong strength. Dieter could clearly feel these powerful breaths in front of him, but he didn't respond to it. Devil, it's just a building ant that Dieter doesn't have evidence for. Even if 5 moth ants turn into grasshoppers, they still can't compare to giants. In the face of great strength, everything is illusory. Bring it on. For flowers. Dieter was playful and ejected to melee him. Smash, smash. The bombing of fists and fists. The power of pure physique against each other. Dieter against 5 members alone. That ice. That explosion. That gushing flood and necromantic and pain-increasing enhancements. Dieter turned a blind eye. The power of the strong physique crushes the crowd. Even if you don't have 5 senses, even the slightest touch is piercing pain. They were all supported by Dieter's tenacious will. The destructive power of the shock fruit. The anti-strike ability of the rubber fruit. A raging flame that burns the fruit. The powerful restorative power of fauna fruits. These 4 abilities are used by Dieter with ease. Trickster burst. 5 enemies are also fearless. Dieter unilaterally crushed several people with his strength. This guy. Kyoko gritted her teeth, her face extremely ugly. Who are they? Demons of the dignified 9 demon gates. Even after showing the strength to win, he still can't defeat the enemy. It was the first time she had seen such a terrifying guy. What a terrible guy, and it's too scary. Silver also looked ugly. He didn't have much of an impression of Dieter, but simply thought he was similar to the rest of Fairy Tale. Result. This confrontation made him hesitate. If it goes on like this, you may die. Boom boom dash. Outside, the duel between Celestial Spirit King and Hades is also going on anxiously, and the battle between the two is terrifying. But this will also have to admit that the battle on Dieter's side is more fierce. Indeed, a simple physique can't smash the dilapidation. But I couldn't hold back the big hole with every blow. Dieter's strength is much stronger than that of the devil, and every blow is fully resisted by the 5 members. But the aftermath of the power of both sides exploded the scene as terrifying as the end of the world. The ruin of the earth. The battle scene that was more than 3 or 5 meters deep into the ground. Both fully illustrate how fierce the battle between the 2 sides is. Boom boom boom. Another blasting power. Dieter's retreat stopped temporarily, and the flames were constantly entwining under his feet. Opposite, 5 were more or less injured. Gasping to lock Dieter. See the endless fear in their eyes. Second. Chapter 181. Akuro Nokia strikes again. No, we can't beat him at all, and now the core of hell is gone. If you die, you will really die. Jackal was worried. The Tempesta's body was still covered with rubble, and Bloody told them that if they were dead, they were really dead. He is afraid. As a demon, he didn't want to die. A terrifying enemy, who fought with the 5 of us for so long. he didn't change, and each of us was injured. Taraf user also began to hesitate. The same goes for others. Powerful enemies are not scary. What is scary is that after your physical strength is exhausted, the enemy is still alive and well after the spell is exhausted. Dieter's strength is beyond imagination. Continuing to fight only to die, it is better to avoid the edge and concentrate on executing their plans. Ha ha ha. It seems that the old friend's partner is also very reliable. Celestial Spirit King burst out laughing. He's clearly 87 enough to get to Dieter's battle situation. And Pluto Margier's face was gloomy. He was very unhappy, and the dignified demon was beaten to pieces by humans. And it's a 6-to-1 situation. That's what got killed. Margier is very unhappy. You step back and let me come, Margier said. He could see that Kyoko and the others were exhausted. Decided to do it myself. Hee, do you think I'll let them live? Dieter laughed. The flames burned the sky, and he raised one hand above his head. The feet turned into a sea of fire. A huge flame like the sun was brewing overhead. Great flame ring, Emperor Yan Dash. A sun-like fireball appeared. Dieter waved his hand away, and the huge fireball drowned the 5 people in Hades. Hurry up! Kyoko immediately reprimanded and dodged to the side. This big fireball must not be touched. Disappear, Dieter said coldly. The dazzling fireball exploded and the earth shattered. A huge fireball with a diameter of more than 100 meters burst into flames, and the scalding flames sounded like a meteorite. Boom! The end is coming. Fireball overwhelms 5 members. The performance Celestial Spirit King and Hades stared here, and they could feel the temperature of the flames from a distance. Is this guy picking on the side? Pluto Margier had a gloomy face, feeling very sad that the magic power disappeared. The fire blazed into the sky. It was as if the explosion of another sun was slowly disappearing. On the ground, the flames that can be seen everywhere continue to burn, and the range of 100 meters is shrouded in flames, which is as horrible as a catastrophe. Da. Out of the flames figure. He has a handsome face with a light smile on his face. Behold the Celestial Spirit King and Hades duo. It's a pity that you are the only one who still has the power in Tartaros, Margier. Dieter took the vial to collect Tempesta's blood from his hand, and laughed. Ding. Destroying the Tempesta of 9 demon gates will reward you with 10 skill points. Do you want to add more points? Ding. Taraf user, who destroys the dark underworld of the 9 demon gates, will be rewarded with 10 skill points. Do you want to add more points? Ding. Destroy goddess of the slave planet Kyoko of 9 demon gates, and reward 10 skill points. Do you want to add more points? Ding. Defeat the Black Archbishop, keys of 9 demon gates, and reward 10 skill points. Do you want to add more points? Harvest. Jackal and Silver have been defeated before, so no skill points have been earned. But even so Dieter gained 40 skill points. Not only can the level be upgraded to the full level, you can also draw again. Top up first, Dieter thought to himself. At the same time, walk in the direction of Celestial Spirit King and Hades. With the addition of points, Dieter felt the strength in his body increased again. Celestial Spirit King, leave the battle to me, Dieter said. Celestial Spirit King nodded. That's fine. As he said that, he raised a sharp sword in his hand, and there were words in his mouth. The dream of starlight shining on all 88 stars, Galaxy Blade. Erza. Hades sneered. Attack in all directions, the summoner is nearby. Do you even want to kill her? Dash. The light bloomed, and all those who were trapped were instantly liberated. Hades stared. You released Allegria? Celestial Spirit King replied with a smile. The light of the stars will dispel the erosion of darkness, and the responsibility of eliminating you is left to this little friend. Damn it. Pluto's face became more and more ugly, and they lost this battle too badly. Then it's just you and me. Dieter took over the position of Celestial Spirit King, looking at Margier in front of him, feeling surging and forced to fight. Margier is angry. Let the humans feel my anger. Margier waved. Many spines pierced from the ground around Dieter's body. But the thorn was crushed by the vibrations in the air before it could reach Dieter. It's useless. Show your demonic posture. Dieter, familiar with the surge of power in his body, confronted Hades. Interesting. Naturally, Hades would not be obedient. He waved again, and the thorns that he looked at continued to sweep towards the unique. It's useless. Dieter shattered the thorns and charged towards Hades. Get into a fight with him quickly. Pluto's power is very strong, several times stronger than other demons, so even Dieter can't help but take it seriously. Of course, if Dieter turns into a dragon man, it will be no problem to crush Margier. But I want to wait and see if Zeref will show up. Today's unique strength should be enough to compete with Zeref or Akuro Nokia, under the circumstances of full strength. The fighting here is fierce. The only opponents left were the half-dead Silver Keys, and Dieter was deliberately showing mercy to the two of them. Silver can enhance Gray's strength. That Keys is the one who controls the Silver, and of course he can't kill it, and the only enemies still alive are the ordinary soldiers of Tartaros. There's also Minerva against Erza and a girl who can only go around in circles. Boom boom dash. Not far away. 1.1 Natsu rushed forward from nowhere and attacked Margier. Dieter, you're amazing. I've heard from Lucy, You've wiped out most of Tartaros' enemies by yourself. Natsu rushed into the duel in one fell swoop. Still in the mood to talk to Dieter, not taking Magia in the slightest. You're here to grab. Dieter was speechless, and just after he was about to complain for a few words, he heard a strange voice, softer than Dash. This voice, at the same time, Natsu also stopped attacking, and his face changed greatly when he heard the faint voice. I didn't expect him to come. I don't know if he came to pursue Lord Zeref or was attracted by powerful magic. Pluto Magia was also surprised. The two enemies who swept across the front also slowly retreated, and it was pointless to continue fighting. The scarier guy has come. Chapter 182, The Third Dragon. Dongfang Qinglong appears one by one. Akuro, I didn't expect to come so soon. Dieter's eyebrows, with a strange expression on his face. Magia, who was watching retreat, did not chase after him. The appearance of Akronia means that other enemies don't matter. The most urgent task is to be prepared, ready to look for an opportunity to transform at any time. Akuro. Natsu gritted his teeth, and the scene of Sirius Island came to mind. At the same time, all the guild members looked at the sky in horror. Puff puff. Natsu's heart aches in front of him. He knelt down violently and struggled while holding his heart, his body exuding an unparalleled warmth. I'd better retreat first, and it's better not to let people see if I transform into a blue dragon or something. Dieter muttered to himself after glancing at Natsu. Turn around and leave here, ready to take advantage of the situation to send the blood of the collected Tempest Guy. Roar, boom. Akronia roared and spit out the dragon's breath, destroying the broken earth again. Numerous guild members immediately avoided looking at Akuro Nokia in the air. They were extremely frightened, and they all huddled together, praying constantly. It's Akuro Nokia. Akuro is that ... That's the 25. The one who blew Sirius Island away. Help. Help the first generation. Countless people shouted in horror, and they cried out helplessly. The whole body of the Sirius group could not help shaking, and the scene of Sirius Island was replayed in their minds. They are terribly afraid. Roar, boom, destroy. This time, the dragon's breath directly destroyed the earth, and the terrifying gust of wind brought countless people's ruthless refrigerant. Puff puff. Natsu, Gaijil, Wendy, etc. Dragon Slayer's heart is pounding. They fell to their knees. Akuro swept across the earth and came to the sky, and the fiery dragon breath was about to roar. Below. Looks like the time has come. Sudden. Natsu heard a familiar voice and immediately looked around. Igna, I believe you can be tend. How can there be Igna's voice? Akuro, let me find a way. Light blooms. Natsu's stomach suddenly burst out with a strong light. Boom. The airwave overturned everything around him. Natsu screamed. A huge figure emerged from the sky, and the scarlet scales and explosive muscles shocked countless people. Having made you suffer all this time, Natsu, I've actually been inside you all the time. Igna appears. It waved its dragon wings and set off a gust of wind to see the unbelievable look on Natsu's face. Now is not the time to tell you everything. I have to get rid of Akuro first. You have to live. Natsu, Igna's voice echoed. Natsu stared at the familiar figure in the sky with his mouth open. He murmured, am I dreaming? Daddy. Roar. Hugh. The gust of wind swept through the sky, and the sound of the dragon's roar resounded in the sky. Countless people stared wide-eyed at the figure rushing towards the black dragon Akuro. They are shocked. There is actually another dragon. This dragon turned out to be the one that protected us and went to fight Akuro. No. This is Agunal, Natsu's father. It turns out they couldn't believe it, and they couldn't let go of it for a long time, looking at the incomparable red dragon, the black dragon Akuro, Fire Dragon King Igna. When the two fought, whether it was the collision or the aftermath, the people on the ground could not see anything in front of them. What a joke. Igna. Natsu looked at the roar of the dragon, who was familiar and could no longer be familiar in the air, and rushed up with flames churning under his feet. Air and Iguna rake of Akuro pains. Idiot. Didn't I say wait for the explanation? Natsu climbed Agunal's body. Tell me now. Why did you suddenly disappear, and you're still inside me? Where are the dragons of Gaijil and Wendy? What happened on July 7th 777? What? Boom. Igna roared and spewed out raging flames, temporarily easing the current battle situation. Natsu, you're in the way. Ignil grabbed Natsu and scolded. Natsu complained, what is it to be in the way? Is this what I should say to someone I haven't seen in a long time? Igna said. Didn't I tell you? I'll explain it to you later. Go do your work. Where's the job? Natsu retorted. Ignil pinched Natsu and motioned him to look at the ground. Where is the person standing holding a book in his arms? That is the Book of End. Go grab that book. Natsu complained. Just let Dieter go for that kind of hour. He's good enough to deal with that guy. Igunal said. He left just now, so only you can do this, and the guy is the mastermind of this riot. This alone is enough to become your reason for fighting, right? Natsu asked. What about the reward? Ignil's face was eccentric, as if he didn't expect Natsu to think of this. That's right. I work in a guild, Natsu said. I'll tell you everything you want to know, said Igunal. Make a deal. Go, Natsu. Okay. Guild temporary shelter. Apothecary Pelusica watched the apocalyptic battle in the sky through the window of 887. It's really appalling, Dieter had already handed over the blood, and now he was sitting by the window watching the trembling of the two dragons in the air. At that time, the strong wind that was set off from time to time also blew the glass. "Aren't you going to help?" Poloshiku asked. "Ignil can't beat the black dragon Akuro, and he will probably die." Dieter, however, shook his head. "Only those who have lost their loved ones can grow, and the fall of Ignil is an inevitable outcome. Besides, I can't beat the dragon." Dieter shrugged, his face indifferent. Poloshiku sneered. "The unique power in your body is very powerful. Maybe the rest of the guild can't see it, but Makarov, I can see it." Silence. It was rare that Dieter didn't answer right away, looking at Poloshiku with strange eyes. He took a deep breath and sighed. "So you old guys are hard to deal with." "Then you." Poloshiku didn't care about Dieter's name, but thought about it with interest. Dieter stretches. He got up and opened the door of the room, and asked in return, "Miss Poloshiku, have you ever seen the dragon in the east?" "No." "You will soon see the distinctive and charming oriental blue dragon." The dragon roars loudly. The third dragon, Dongfang Qinglong, debut. Chapter 183, Qinglong Dieter vs Black Dragon Akuro Nokia. Roar. Chant. The dragon's roar was full of energy, and flew towards the sky with a strong provocation. Oriental Azure Dragon. Poloshiku was also shocked to see Dieter turned into a weird blue dragon. Dragon. Qinglong. A slender body with cyan scales on his body. A Azure Dragon with 5 claws stepping on the sky. This. Poloshiku took a deep breath and said in shock, "What an amazing boy." High in the distance, the black dragon Akuro and the fire dragon King Ignor also heard the sound of the dragon. Different from their dragon chants, this third sound of dragon roar is strange and has a unique sense of penetration. Unanimously, they looked behind them. The guild members who watched the battle below were very puzzled. "Did I have an auditory hallucination just now? Why do I feel like I heard the sound of other dragons?" Macau scratched his head. Kibaba next to him gave him a slap and immediately woke up. "No auditory hallucinations, there are really other dragons." "What's going on? Could it be that Gagil and their dragons have appeared?" Kana wondered. The other members couldn't help but raise their eyebrows and looked into the distance. Even Natsu and others were puzzled. "And did the dragon appear? Is this dragon from Gagil, or Wendy's, or one of the two?" Natsu wondered. Same. Gagil and the rest of the dragon slayers also had a hint of excitement. Looking forward to and a little scared looking into the distance. Everyone's eyes are locked on the east, wanting to see what dragon is about to appear. Far away, clouds appeared out of nowhere. Dieter took the leap and felt the changes in his body. Wind and thunder. Don't Kaido's dragon also have these two attributes? Dieter wondered. Maybe because the world is different. Dieter feels that the attributes mastered by the dragon are wind and thunder, and he doesn't know whether it is castrated or enhanced. However, he could clearly feel the steady stream of power in his body. Roar. Dragon roar again. The 100-meter-long Qinglong made a grand debut. In an instant, countless people's eyes widened. Is this really a dragon? How is it different from Nokia and Igna and what I've seen? Why does this dragon feel like a long worm? What the hell? That body and head seem to be much stronger than what we've seen. This. They were stunned. Of course, they have seen dragons, but they have seen a dragon in the great demon fighting martial arts. But the dragon in front of them was completely different from what they had seen. I vaguely felt that the 100-meter-long dragon was more majestic. Without wings, stepping on the clouds and attacking. Is this really what a dragon can do? Macau was stunned. Kaba was also shocked that the smoke from his mouth fell to the ground. The strangeness and shock in the eyes of countless people in the guild could not be concealed. It was simply unbelievable. This dragon is. Gagil looked at the 100-meter blue dragon in the sky and raised his brows in love, as if in his impression there was no similarity between the dragon and the one in front of him. There's weirdness. There's definitely weirdness. This dragon. Rogan Sting over there also said something different and watched Qinglong, who was coming from the clouds, and fell into deep thought. Same. Igunya and Akuro were also sluggish. Who are you? Of course. These two dragons have seen dragons in this form, but they have always remembered that there is such a dragon. I don't even know if they are friends or foes. Roar. And the black dragon Akuro has no time to gossip. Roaring and rushing towards Qinglong Dieter. Looking for death. I will satisfy you. Dieter saw that the black dragon dared to take the initiative to ask for trouble, and immediately roared and fought towards the black dragon. For a time, Ignil became a spectator instead. And below, Erza was also a little strange to hear Qinglong's voice. The voice and the way of speaking are a little familiar, as if Erza was puzzled. Meanwhile Mira Jane was lost in thought. Could it be that a dragon has slept all these years? She feels strange. The blue dragon Dieter in the sky doesn't know the brain circuits of the two girls. At this moment, he is constantly adapting to Qinglong's body. After all, this is the first time to use this form to fight, and it is somewhat unfamiliar. Fortunately, I quickly became familiar with it, and from being suppressed, it was suppressed. And what Ignil saw as the Fire Dragon King was even clearer, and he could clearly see that the Qinglong in front of him was never familiar to familiar. But even if you are not familiar with dragon-shaped combat, it has a strong defense. It's kind of awesome. Igna said that the Alo Blue Dragon's fighting ability is getting better and better. At the same time, knowing that this moment is an opportunity, Dieter immediately rushed to support the former Dieter and planned to work together to solve the Black Dragon Akuro 071. And the Black Dragon Akuro will naturally not be captured. After the sharp claws tore a hole in Qinglong Dieter, he immediately brewed the dragon's breath roar in his mouth, wanting to destroy the new Qinglong in one fell swoop. Careful, Ignil quickly reminded. However, Qinglong Dieter was not afraid at all. Take care of yourself. The upper half of the height is high and arched, and the bloody mouth is also open, and the supreme roar is also brewing during the period. Boom, boom. The dragon breaths of the two exploded instantly. That moment, it was dark, and the space where the two were in was a distorted mess. The clouds were thick as if the end was coming. This Akuro was suppressed on dragon's breath. Ignil was really stunned. He had forgotten about the need to help fight, and at this moment, he was really startled when he saw the dragon breath of the two. The Black Dragon Akuro is the most powerful dragon. As a result, it was suppressed by the dragon breath of an unknown blue dragon. Who can believe this? Wow, who the hell are you? A dragon that has never appeared. You smell different too. The Black Dragon Akuro was taken aback. The dragon's breath just now was a very serious attack. But it didn't hurt the new dragon, but was suppressed on the dragon's breath. That breath is very powerful. Qian Zhao. It even feels like it can hurt him, which is the most surprising. I'll tell you when you're dead. Qinglong Dieter rushed forward again. The advantage of animal fruit is that it has a strong physical body and strong resilience, so he believes that the physical strength is enough to shake the Black Dragon Akuro. Looking for a dead tiger. Hearing Dieter's arrogant words made Akuro even more angry. The killing intent that had been immersed for a long time became strong. If he rushed forward to fight with him, he was bound to tear up the Qinglong who provoked him alive. Dieter is not to be outdone. The 100-meter-long giant dragon twisted and struggled towards the Black Dragon Akuro Nokia. Both sides opened their bloody mouths and bit each other. Look closely and you'll find it. Dieter's recovery from the injuries he left on the Black Dragon Akuro was very slow, and the wounds left by the Black Dragon Akuro to Dieter are slowly recovering, consuming each other. The winner must be the Blue Dragon. Dieter. Chapter 184. The Day of Parting. Roar. Seeing this, Ignil also knew that this was an opportunity, and immediately swept past and bit towards the Black Dragon. Stab tilde. Blood sprayed. Igna, the Fire Dragon King, tore off one of the arms of the Black Dragon King Akuro. At the same time, Dieter and Black Dragon were knocked away. Ugh! The Black Dragon Akuro roared, and opened his mouth to blow out a blow. Dash! Instantly penetrated Igna's body. That moment, Igna's body fell, and Qinglong Dieter's eyes widened, and his anger was burning with anger. Damn, neither of the two dragons took out the Black Dragon first. Dieter cursed and rushed to the Black Dragon again. However, this time, the Black Dragon did not entangle with Dieter for the first time, but instead flew away immediately with the help of the impact force. Escape. Shame, Lozi is going to hunt you down. Dieter roared and chased after the Black Dragon. It is a shame for him to give up such a rare opportunity. I originally wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to kill the Black Dragon, but I never thought it would be such a situation. The two dragons are gone. At this moment, everything on the ground is still going on slowly. Fez is still on. The person to start is Lami with a slippery spell in Tartaros. 887. Fortunately, at the last critical moment, the dragons in Dragon Slayer reappeared, destroying all the Fez on the mainland so that the magic power on the mainland did not disappear. There will be many dragons gathered together. Grandini. Many Dragon Slayers looked at the dragon in front of them. It was everyone's courage, Igna and that mysterious blue dragon who fought off Akuro. The other members of the guild also looked up. Dragon is actually on our side. So superior. Have you destroyed all the Fez? Really, it's amazing. That mysterious blue dragon is so powerful. Speaking of which, how sacred is that blue dragon? Who knows? The members all sighed and did not see too much sadness on their faces. Grandini looked at Wendy tenderly. You really worked hard to destroy Faith. Wendy wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, because Carla is with me. There. Tai Long and Gajiel looked at each other. Neither of them said anything first. Are your eyes still that fierce? Crap. At the same time, White Dragon and Shadow Dragon also talked to Rogue and Sting. CFBB, I did kill you. I also saw the Shadow Dragon die with my own eyes. Both of them felt very strange. The display in memory should not be wrong, but the two dragons in front of them still appeared. Bai Ying smiled. Erasing human memory is easy for us, even though Igna once objected to doing so. Shadow Dragon added, at that time, we wanted to leave Dragon Slayer with the memory and merit of killing dragons. However, death is not entirely a lie for us. Grandini recounts, we're actually dead, long ago by the dragon-slaying magic of Akuro, which siphoned off all the dragon souls. Therefore, we hide in your body. In addition to preventing you from becoming a dragon and defeating Akuro, it is also to prolong our lives. Several dragon slayers were silent. They vaguely sensed some bad thoughts. Maybe something is going to happen. Shadow Dragon said, once out of your body, we will not be able to go back. Today is the first and last time, let you see our power. Therefore, I hope you can understand the difficulty of our long absence. Speaking of which, the White Dragon sighed, even Ignya and the Blue Dragon have not been able to defeat Akuro Nokia, Although the blue dragon chases, I am afraid the result will not be too ideal. However, this is also Igunal's last strength before his death. Human beings, please don't hurt the dignity of the Fire Dragon King. No dragon could be as brave and loving as Igna. There is sadness in the atmosphere. On the other end, Natsu knelt down in front of Ignal's body, tears flowing uncontrollably. Dad, didn't you agree with me? Didn't you say that you will never leave me again? Don't say it doesn't count. I've been looking for you all the time. I've learned to write, my magic is getting better and better. I've made many friends, and I'm working hard. I have so much more to say to you. Igna. Tartaros was defeated, but not many people are happy. A few dragons should disappear too. I haven't told you everything yet, but the time has come to say goodbye. There will be various difficulties in the future, but you will be fine. No. Grandini, don't go. Softer. The giant dragon whipped up a gust of wind and leapt like the sky. The remaining reverberation echoed in everyone's ears, like a gentle breeze blowing gently. Humanity strife and hatred are all memories of the past, and now we can advance and retreat together like this, and the age of our dragons has come to an end. In the future, the creation of the future will depend on the power of human beings. We will follow the covenant between humans and dragons 400 years ago, the Magna Carta of freedom. We dragons will continue to protect humans. Weeping. Slight choking sound. That broken heart echoed the screams of everything around. Tears of sadness were shed by the people who were crying and crying. Igunal. The corpse slowly disappeared, leaving only a few words left. Natsu, don't cry. Think about it. What do you do when you're sad? I taught you that. Okay, I know. Then try it and stand up. I will always be with you. It was like this in the past, and it will be like this in the future. Let me see how you grow and how you live. Tears fell silently. Natsu rubbed his fists and roared, swearing, enacting. I want to live on. I want to get stronger. I'm going to defeat Akuro. Yes, look to the future. That is the power of life. An atmosphere of grief lingers above the once again destroyed fairy tale guild. Ruins not far away. Makarov looked at a group of children, their growth in his eyes. Did you run away? Makarov whispered softly. The serious injury didn't catch up. Akuro is not easy to deal with, not only the dragon form, he also has a physique that is immune to most magic. The wall not far behind. Dieter leaned back pale, one arm drooping weakly. Blood dripped tickily. His clothes were covered in blood, and he was seriously injured. In the end, it's still an old monster who has lived for hundreds of years, showing weakness and yin. Fortunately no shame that Akuro was also forced to be severely injured, and his state was much worse than Dieter. Thanks for your hard work. Makarov's voice was hoarse. Chapter 185. The Fairy Tale Guild is disbanded. Everyone's arrangement. The Tartaros incident is over the past week. The battle with Hades left many scars on the guild members. Natsu's father, Igna, dies. A final farewell to the dragons of the many dragon slayers. Lucy's Aquarius key shatters. Dieter's injuries have not healed. Magnolia and the guild are devastated. Not only these, other cities are also messed up by the appearance of Fairy Tale Ruins site. President, won't you rebuild the guild this time? Mira Jane asked. The chairman pondered. Well, the people in the town finally helped us rebuild it. There's a ... That's how it feels again. Really cruel. The people in the guild were very sad. The Fairy Tale Guild kept appearing like this, and the old guild was smashed again. It's not anyone's fault. Perhaps, this is the end of an era. Makarov said. Also on this day, he announced the disbandment of Fairy Tale. In a few days, most of the people in the guild have left, and they are looking for jobs to continue their lives. Still in ruins. Since it could not be rebuilt, some children have come to play here. The former glory is gone. The three Mira Jane sisters, Erza, Lucy, Wendy, and Carla have not left yet. There are only a few of us left. Dieter sighed and looked at the blue sky, which fell apart for days. Lagosas took Thor with him to nowhere. Gray and Juvia left after learning that the guild was disbanded. It would take a year for Natsu and Happy to go back to practice, and the guild no longer exists. Lucy was curled up, her face ugly. Wendy. At this time, a girl jumped up from a distance, and when I looked at it, I found out that it was Sherry from the Scales of the Snake Princess. Sherry? Wendy heard someone calling, and looked at it, and she was very different when she found out that it was a new friend. What? Sherry came to the front and pulled Wendy to start reminiscing. Not long after, Wendy asked curiously, Sherry, why are you here? Are you here to work? Sherry however shook his head. A look of sadness swept over everyone and asked, Master Leon and Master Jura asked me to invite you to join our guild, and I also solemnly invite Wendy. Listen to this. Dieter and the others remained silent. After waiting for a while, Dieter smiled and looked over. Go back and reply, thank them for their invitation, but I won't go, but you can follow Wendy's words. Erza nodded. I'm not joining either. The same is true of the three Mira Jane siblings. Lucy naturally wouldn't join in casually. Well, is Wendy coming? I still really hope Wendy can join our guild. Sherry nodded. Before coming, Lord Leon had told her that he might not join. Then me too. Wendy wanted to refuse. However Dieter got up and came to Wendy, smiled and patted her little head. Join in. Fairy Tail has been disbanded, but aren't we going to live? We're going to leave in a few days. Instead of following us through hardship and suffering, it's better to join the scales of Snake Fairy. Sherry definitely wants to be with you, Dieter said. Wendy lowered her head and hesitated. Xiaolulu reassured, yeah Wendy, it's dangerous to go outside, why don't you join the guild? Sherry hurriedly said, come on Wendy, let's do a commissioned mission together, and it's definitely a very good idea to join our guild. Erza and the others also spoke softly. In the end, with tears in her eyes, Wendy bent down and bowed to several people to thank them. Thank you for taking care of me all the time. People go. Only a shadow remains. After a moment of silence, Dieter asked the crowd, where should we go next? Does Lucy have any ideas? Lucy replied, I don't want Fairy Tail to disband. Several people were silent. Soon Dieter laughed. Fairy Tail can't be disbanded, that is, Natsu is not here. If he is, even one person will not give up Fairy Tail. Now we should think about how we will spend the next 1 year. When Natsu comes back he will definitely be clamoring to reorganize the guild. Thinking of this, Erza and Mira Jane couldn't help but feel relieved. Clearly agrees with Dieter's statement. Lucy was silent, thinking for a while before saying, I might be a reporter, just because I have someone I know. It's a very good wish, and I can also collect traces of other people in the guild. Dieter nodded. Lucy also asked, where are you going, brother Dieter? Both Erza and Mira Jane looked at Dieter, and both women followed Dieter. For flowers. Cough cough. Dieter coughed suddenly and violently. After covering his mouth and coughing, he spread out his hands, only to see a mass of black congestion in the palm of his hand. You don't know yet, that blue dragon is me? Dieter asked. Immediately, the eyes of the few people in front of them were widened, and some unexpectedly looked unique. They witnessed the final battle with their own eyes. Only he was not familiar with the origin of the mysterious blue dragon, and he was shocked to hear Dieter's words at this moment. Brother Dieter, is that blue dragon you? Is your body a dragon, or is it a dragon like Akronia? That blue dragon turned out to be. Several people were surprised. They never thought that the dragon turned out to be Dieter. How should I put it? That dragon is a kind of magic that can be transformed into a dragon. It belongs to one of the lost magics, and I only learned it later. Dieter made an excuse. Then he smiled and replied, the last battle was actually not good for me. What Akuro and Nokia mastered was the evil dragon slaying magic. When I was chasing it, he was injured by him. It may take half a year or a year to recover. Dieter smiled and shook his head. It's still a little careless, so some fancy herbs may be needed to heal the injury. And these herbs are all over the continent, so my next arrangement is definitely to cultivate and recuperate, so I think they should be separated. Lucy was silent. Mira Jane took the initiative to say, then we follow you. Before Dieter could speak, Erza took the initiative to shake his head. Mira Jane, don't follow. After all, it's more troublesome for you to have a lot of people, so I'll just follow. However, Dieter sighed, shattered the blood in his hand and shook his head. No, you don't have to follow. According to my observation, Zeref also has other forces of his own. So people need to investigate. Erza can contact Gel to investigate. I will be healed and return as soon as possible. I feel that the mountains and rains are about to come. I am afraid that this continent will not be clean for a long time, and Zeref will not give us too much time to cultivate. Neither Erza nor Mira Jane disagreed. Still a little uncomfortable, after all Dieter was going to be alone. Don't worry, let's just keep in touch. A year will be over soon, Dieter reassured. Finally, Mira Jane and Erza agreed in Dieter's persuasion. Next is the last conservatism. Chapter 186. The two ones who appeared in the Great Demon Fighting Martial Arts, Mysterious People. 1 year after the war with Hades. Time passes by inadvertently, and the members of the original Fairy Tail Guild all disperse. Some still contact from time to time. Others disappear completely without a trace, like Dieter. At the beginning, there was news from time to time where I had seen Qinglong, but there was no news after that. Even Erza and Mira Jane haven't been able to get in touch with Dieter for nearly half a year. X792, Capital Crookers. Today is the last day of the Great Demon fight, and the FOS #1 guild is about to be decided. The guild that made it to the finals was the leader of the Headless Horseman, who had an overwhelming advantage, led by Krizek. And their opponent is the Miracle Guild that has won the promotion after several reversals. The Tooth of the Poison Ghost. This time, the Great Demon Fighting Martial Arts adopts a knockout system, so in the final, two guilds will directly compete for the first place. The host of the 887 Live report enthusiastically explained the way of the final battle. On the high platform, Lucy crossed his chin with his hands crossed, ignoring his opponent with an almost dazed expression. Cool, cool, cool. Looks like another interesting report this time round. Right, Lucy? Jason babbled frantically. Noticing that no one responded, he also looked to the side, wondering why Lucy was distracted at this time. I'm sorry, what did you say? Lucy quickly returned to the apologetic question. Jason pointed at his opponent on the court and shouted, look, this is the final, it's about to start. However, Lucy feebly said, it's just a farce. Krizek is indeed strong, but according to my records and observations, the members of Toxic Fang are actually stronger. I'm afraid each of them has almost twice the magic power of Krezek, but they have been hiding until now. Probably to increase the odds of the bet. The winner must be the Tooth of the Poison Ghost, and it will be a complete victory. Wow la la, as Lucy's voice came to an end. The Tooth of the Poisonous Devil was truly sanctified and won, and as Lucy said, it was a complete victory. I didn't expect it, really didn't expect it. It's so surprising. Tooth of Poison wins. The odds are 100x. Big upset. Foz #1 guild is Toxic Fang. Fact report Chapati was surprised to announce. Jason was pleasantly surprised. Lucy is so amazing. You've got it right. Lucy sighed. Alas, they are really strong, but these people can be called the #1 for sudden. Fact report Chapati's accident. Oops, there's some commotion in the arena. It's a suspicious person in the arena. Looking at the man in the dark cloak, the man with the Tooth of the Poisonous Ghost said, "What do you want to do?" Intruder? Lucy's eyes widened, and at the same time he felt the powerful magic, this feeling. Such a powerful magic. Go and evacuate everyone. Jason was puzzled. Sudden, the violent magic power was vented, and the aftermath of that momentum blew everyone present pale. You are so bold. How dare you make trouble in the capital? Is this guy the black one in the recent rumors? How can it be? The man in the black cape covered his face. Are you the #1 guild in for? The people of Poison Tooth were very upset by the way the man in the cape spoke. They all stared at him hostilely. I'm the challenger. A fiery flame burst out of the fist, instantly igniting the entire venue. The earth, the air, the building, etc. are all melted. What's the matter? Heat. It's so hot. The heat is to melt the clothes, not to melt the whole venue. Inside the venue, the heat melted the mysterious man's hood, revealing his battered face. Natsu. Lucy's eyes widened suddenly, watching the mood of the people in the venue. Long time no see, Lucy. Happy sounded from behind. Lucy turned his head to look. Happy. What's going on here? Oops, Natsu said he wanted to take on the winner of the contest no matter what. Happy was helpless. In the field, Natsu screamed wildly, whoever it is, come on, come and stop that guy. Go up, go up, go up and stop this guy. Go up. A large number of mages rushed up. Natsu's fists are on fire. I'm on fire. Boom boom boom. The fiery temperature set the entire venue on fire. The arena was completely melted, and all the mages were brought down. There was no one in the entire venue that was his opponent, and no amount of opponents could stop him. Just when the farce was about to end, there was a stronger atmosphere in the auditorium of the venue. Natsu and Lucy and the others couldn't help but look over. A mysterious person appears again, with a mask with a strange pattern. The black clothes on his body wrap him tightly. This momentum seems to be stronger than Natsu. Live report Chibari did not forget his work even at this point, holding the microphone and continued, there's another guy with strength to fight. Who is this person? Off the field. Natsu was about to say hello to Lucy, and he looked over after feeling the momentum. His face was a little heavy. Who are you? But soon he stopped thinking about it and grinned. Whoever it is, let's fight. I'm on fire. Gah! The masked man in black flashed down, attacked again in 0.1 seconds without leaking any magic. Just one punch. It was just the most common punch, and it fell with a bang. Boom. Although Natsu was on guard, he was still hit by the punch, even though Natsu had his arms crossed in front of him. But that punch hit the arm like the impact of a giant dragon. Punch Natsu out with a gust of wind. The body instantly fell on the auditorium of the arena, and the broken stones exploded in all directions. It's so strong. Lucy's scalp was numb, and looking at the masked man in black 1.1's eyes widened. He only felt a biting horror. The only people in the guild who can beat Natsu. Happy watched the masked man guess. Yes, Lucy woke up suddenly, constantly judging who the masked man would be. So who is he? Gagiel, Lagosas, Erza, Dieter? Who could he be? Lucy is constantly sifting through the brain. There are very few people who can beat Natsu, especially only a few people who can suppress him after a year of training. Who could it be? It's so powerful. The masked man uses just one punch, just an ordinary punch to knock out the fire dragon Natsu. Awesome, it's amazing. Mr. Yajima, can you see who it is? I don't know, but I'm afraid the only people who are messing around in this place are the lawless people of Fairy Tale. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Chapter 187, Reunion after 1 year. The fruit awakens. Pain, pain, pain. Wow tilde. Natsu stood up from the shattered stone ruins, rubbing his arms and screaming in pain. Staring strangely at the masked man in front of him. Who the hell are you? Lagosas, Gagiel, or Dieter? Masked man. Forget it. No matter who it is, as long as you beat you, you'll know. Natsu grinned. It ejected with a bang and attacked the masked man. The two fists wrapped the flame and twisted the space, burning the black clothes on the masked man and the mask on his face. The masked man in black shows no sign of weakness. With a clenched fist against Natsu's heavy punch, there was a humming sound like an explosion. The ground of the venue was affected by the giant force. Dadao deep ditch ferociously extended from the battle between the two people. Whoa. The soldiers' armor kept ringing. A large number of soldiers poured in from all directions, trying to arrest both sides fighting. Empty shock. The masked man whispered. A white halo shrouded his fist, and he threw a heavy punch. Space hanging fissure, extends in front of your eyes. Natsu's pupils were tightly locked, and he quickly retreated. Ha ha ha, it's you. Eat me 25 note. Fire dragons roar. He laughed. A hot red flame was brewing in his mouth. The smashing earth roared and rushed, and the flames were enough to burn everything around. Yesterday, no matter how sharp Natsu's attack was, it couldn't cause any harm to the masked man. The air shock exploded. Destroy all the flames that are likely to spread elsewhere. Also inflicted minor injuries to Natsu. Don't move, you are already surrounded. The soldiers shouted for the two to stop. However, the figure of the masked man fluctuated and disappeared in the place of a burst of flames. Left alone, Natsu is surrounded. Damn it. Seeing that the situation was not good, Natsu wanted to flee the scene immediately. But how could those soldiers do what he wanted? Go all out and give Natsu a uniform. Outside the kingdom, it can still be released. Seeing Natsu coming out safe and sound, Lucy also greeted unexpectedly. Natsu grinned. Lucy, are you watching the game alone? Happy was busy asking, why didn't Fairy Tail compete? After hearing the words, Lucy also sighed. Well, so you don't know. Natsu and Happy are puzzled. Soon followed Lucy to a resting place in a square. Listened quietly to Lucy's story. Natsu pulled his face after listening. Fairy Tail disbanded? Happy has no love. Why? Lucy replied, the day after you left. Why are you disbanding? Where is the old man? I'm going to beat him up. No, I'm going to light his hair. Natsu got angry. Lucy said helplessly, the whereabouts of the president is unknown, and everyone has embarked on their own paths. I can't believe it. It doesn't matter if the guild is gone. Natsu said. Lucy laughed. Who knows? The old man didn't dare to say no to disbanding, and the battle in the underworld really made everyone physically and mentally tired. Dieter came from a distance. Reach out and remove the mask from your face. Brother Dieter, long time no see. Hiss Dieter, I know it's you who fights me. Dieter. After seeing Dieter, Lucy and the others quickly greeted him. Dieter waved his hand. Yeah, long time no see. How did Lucy disconnect from Erza and Mirror Jane? They were quite worried when I contacted them 2 days ago. Lucy laughed safely. I want to gather everyone together. But so what? The guild has been disbanded, hasn't it? Silent. Dieter didn't speak this time either. Natsu immediately shouted, hey, the old man wants to disband the guild. Why don't you object, Dieter? Whether it's good for Ligosas or someone else to be the guild leader, don't you have any ideas? But Dieter shrugged. What's the objection? Gray and Juvia left after the guild was dissolved. Most of the other members didn't refuse, so a few people complained a little, but it was useless. Dieter sat down, looked at the sky and the arena in the distance and said nothing. Don't talk about this. Go to my place to rest first, and if you have any ideas, we will talk about it tomorrow. Lucy greeted everyone with a pat on the face to cheer up. A few people followed Lucy's pace without any objection and walked towards the home where she lived now. Speaking of, where has Brother Dieter been in the past year? There has never been any news, Lucy asked boredly on the way. Both Natsu and Happy looked over curiously to hear about Dieter's adventures. A flash of memories flashed on Dieter's face. I have been to many places, including the sea, the desert, the wilderness, and other continents. I was still here in the first half of the year, but I went to other continents in the second half of the year, so I cut off contact. It took a few days to reconnect with Mirror Jane and Erza. Amazing. Other continents. Natsu was ecstatic. Happy hurriedly asked, then Dieter, what about other continents? Is there a guild? After hearing this question, Dieter's expression was very solemn. The king of the continent next door is Zeref, the guy who founded a nation, Dieter said. Immediately, both Natsu and Lucy widened their eyes. As members of the Fairy Tail Guild, they immediately thought of many things. I also understand what this message means. A kingdom, people like Zeref, the Zeref will definitely start a war, and I'm afraid it will be a war between two continents. This news is not good for us, especially the premise of the dissolution of the guild. Danger. Absolutely a big danger. The deeds represented by the war between the two continents are absolutely serious. So we need to be ready in time. D887 murmured. Everyone went back, and soon after a brief conversation, they rested. In the hall, Dieter was leaning against the window, watching Natsu sleeping very soundly and Lucy in the back room also immersed in his mind. Can I sign in? It should be fine for the great demon fighting in a year. Dieter summoned the system assistant in his heart. It's already late. Do I need to draw a lottery? Little cutie replied. Come on. Dieter agrees. Then look at his many skills. Full level Navy 6 type, full level rubber fruit ability, full level 3 color domineering, full level burning fruit, full level shaking fruit ability, fish fruit, full level Qinglong form. Awakening. Yes, the ability of the animal fish and fruit blue dragon form has been awakened. Regarding the awakening of the devil fruit, This is the skill that has been successfully accomplished in the past year. The only pity is that only the animal system can be awakened at present. Others are not yet available. Ding. Congratulations to the master for drawing the full superhuman gravity and fruit ability. In no time, the system assistant, Kawaii, has successfully extracted a new ability. Full level. Speaking of my current strength, I'm afraid I don't have any fruit ability that needs to be added, Dieter muttered. Slightly different. When you close your eyes and immerse yourself in your mind, hearing the movement on the floor, I saw Natsu and Happy walking towards Lucy's room. Han, Dieter muttered not to pay too much attention. Chapter 188, The Kidnapping Plan. The next day, there was a loud noise outside. Wake up the sleeping Lucy, and stumbled to the front of the window. What's the matter? It's so noisy. Looking outside through the window, I was surprised to find that a large number of soldiers were surrounded here. I'm not going to tell you that Natsu sneaked out last night and set fire to a tall building, much less that he did it on purpose, Dieter said next to him. Suddenly Lucy's scalp tingled. Natsu! Roaring woke Natsu, who was still sleeping. And Natsu woke up from his sleep with a yawn, and smiled when he heard the noise outside. Have you found this place so quickly? Lucy rolled his eyes and complained. What the hell are you doing? Natsu pulled Lucy out of the window without saying a word, and said with a smile, I lit the wolf smoke of Fairy Tale's resurrection. Even if you want to revive Fairy Tale, you don't have to do this. Lucy complained and called out to Dieter in the house. Dieter, help me take the bag off the dresser in the bedroom. Dieter reached out to the bedroom, grabbed the bag and jumped out to follow Natsu on the ground. Shula village. The group came here after getting rid of the soldiers. Let's stay here tonight. Lucy took the lead in looking at the environment proposals in the village. This looks a little familiar. Natsu looked at the huge tower-shaped building in front of him and thought, this is not the clock tower that Natsu broke before. I didn't expect it to be fixed. Happy said. Dieter followed boringly. After scanning the environment of the village, he said, find a place to rest. A group of people came to a resting room. It's not easy to regroup Fairy Tale, especially when you don't know where the other members are, Dieter said. Lucy nodded. I've investigated everyone, but I still can't track everyone's whereabouts. What? I can't get in touch. How can I find it? Natsu complained immediately, scratching his ears and cheeks like a monkey and thinking hard. So we can only say go and find the members you know first, Lucy replied. Dieter touched his chin and replied, go southeast from this place to reach Margaret Town. Yes, that's the town where the scales of the Snake Princess is located. Lucy nodded. Suddenly, gold stars appeared in Natsu's eyes. Leon and Sarah's guild. I just used them to practice my skills. Natsu couldn't wait to go. Hey, guess who in our guild is in the scales of Snake Princess? Lucy asked mysteriously. Dieter yawned and closed his eyes against the window. I don't know how the situation is over there. After all, a year has passed. Margaret Town. The Serpent Princess Scale Thanksgiving, as a guild with Saint Tenjura, is one of the best today. Therefore, the guild's Thanksgiving offering was also crowded. Next is what everyone has been waiting for. Our guild's proud angels, Sky Sisters, Sherry and Wendy. Members appear. The jaws of Natsu and Happy below were dropped in shock, because Sherry and Wendy have a good relationship, and Sherry invited Wendy to join the guild back then, and we were all there, Lucy replied. On the stage, Wendy and Sherry also happily sang songs, aroused the voices of the audience below, and they laughed enthusiastically. That guy ... What are you doing? This lyrics is so brainwashing. Happy and Natsu, who have no musical talent, have no idea what the lyrics are about. Here is a unique feeling. In addition to Wendy, some people have joined other guilds. After all, everyone needs a good life. Well, yeah, a lot of wizards don't have much good jobs other than fighting, Lucy admitted. Natsu and Happy said they still couldn't hear the lyrics. The latter also looked around curiously. Speaking of which, haven't you seen Xialulu yet? At this time, I think it's almost time for you to come, Natsu, Lucy, and Tomcat. Oops, sorry. Happy. Natsu woke up and turned his head to look over. I saw a little girl with cat ears behind her, a little cute girl. I didn't expect Xialulu to learn to transform. Dieter scratched his head and muttered. Let's go, Wendy has already left. I will take you to the guild. Xialulu said. The scales of the Snake Princess Guild. Under the leadership of Xialulu, he successfully entered the guild. Buzz. Long time no see. How are you, Wendy? Wendy was successfully seen inside the house. Natsu-san, Lucy-san, Dieter-san, and Happy. Wendy was also ecstatic when she saw the person. Natsu walked over and touched her head. Have you grown taller? Not completely unchanged, Wendy replied with a smile. Really? Natsu smiled, then beat Wendy and walked outside. Then, I'll take this person back. Dieter rolled his eyes. Just sit down at a random spot, and those who swept through the guild haven't found any other original guild members except Wendy here. After a while the farce over their ends. Several people sat down and chatted, and Natsu also explained his intentions. Bring everyone back together and reorganize the fairy tale, Wendy murmured. Lucy replied, well, the whereabouts of the guild leader have been unknown for the past year, I think it must have something to do with the mystery of the dissolution of the guild. Leon over there said, I heard that Mr. Makarov's disappearance is also a big problem in the Senate. Both Dieter and Natsu looked over. The Senate? Isn't the Senate dead? The reaction of the two also brought Lucy back to her senses. She said, by the way, you have been nesting in the ravine, so you don't know yet. Leon replied, if there is no Senate, the Sorcerer's Guild will not be able to function. So a year ago, the 10 major magicians gathered together and reformed the Senate, and Mr. Jura went there too. Originally, Mr. Makarov was supposed to be there, but he never showed up. I heard that the Senate was recruiting people, Kian Zhao, and Mr. Dieter was also being called. But you didn't show up for a while. Leon told Lucy and Dieter about the Senate. After hearing this, Dieter was really surprised. But after thinking about it, it makes perfect sense. In terms of strength and popularity, he is really not weak. Natsu stopped the conversation. Leave the old man's business aside. Let's go, Wendy. Dieter sighed silently. He turned his head and stopped paying attention to the situation here. And Wendy hesitated and finally said, well, I am the sorceress of the scale of the Snake Princess, and I can't go with you. Shock. Both Lucy and Natsu were very surprised. What's the matter with you, Wendy? Natsu demanded. Xiaolulu replied, this is my own decision. Please don't make it difficult for her. Why is it like this? Natsu was surprised. Leon over the finally understood why Dieter was sighing just now. Chapter 189, Take Wendy Away. The next goal, Viper Hotel. Natsu, Happy and Lucy lay dead, sitting in their chairs with their eyes blank and speechless. This result is not too surprising. After all, everyone is rubbed off with the new guild for a year, and it is very difficult for them to leave unconditionally. Dieter said. Lucy worried, I don't know if other people have the same thoughts as Wendy. I won't give up. In that case, go kidnap her. Natsu said. No way. Lucy retorted. However, Dieter thought about it for 2 seconds and nodded, thinking it was very good. A good idea. Lucy yelled at Dieter frantically. Don't make trouble, brother Dieter. Boom. While chatting here, the roaring explosion sounded over there. Several people rushed out. I saw that the building of the Snake Princess Scale Guild was destroyed by a huge monster, and the residents fled in all directions. Leon and the others are directing the guild members. What happened? Natsu rushed over, watching the multitude of monsters busy asking questions. Leon replied, as you can see, the monsters suddenly came to the city. Monster. Why? On the other side, Wendy and Sherry also rushed to support from a distance. At the same time, he also replied, it's a member of the Sorcerer's Guild Snake Ghost. For many years, they have been incompatible with our guild, and they are competitors. I didn't expect it to be so cruel. Lucy gritted his teeth as he watched the ruined building. Sherry was angry, using monsters to attack us. The Snake Ghost really fell. They must be taking advantage of Mr. Biaola's absence. Wendy replied, they must have seen that my 887s were busy with the Thank You Festival and relaxed their vigilance. Leon waved his hand to freeze a monster. Yuka over the rushed over to say hello. Leon, this is just the vanguard. There is another large group from the west. At least 100,000. 100,000. Lucy's eyes widened. A group of people came to the tall building and saw various monsters in groups from outside constantly attacking the city. There are so many monsters blocking us, we can't get close at all. Yuka's hands were sweating. So many monsters couldn't break through to attack the members of the Snake Ghost. Go from heaven. I'm on fire. Let's go. Happy. Xiaolulu took off and rushed out with Wendy. Meanwhile Happy rushes out with Sherry. By the way, I jumped Natsu's foot. I'm sorry Natsu, we have to save the scales of the Snake Princess. People flew away. Natsu frantically looked at the distant Happy and Sherry could only get angry with grievances. The little thief who stole Happy, I won't let you escape. Talking. Natsu rushed towards the monster group, knocking countless monsters all the way and rushing out of the city. It's interesting. Let's try your new ability. Dieter smiled. His eyes swept over the people around him, and his body flew towards the outside of the city. Suspended above the monster group, Lucy also noticed Dieter's current strength. I see. Dieter took a deep breath and raised his arms, palms facing the sky. Sudden, a fiery meteorite fell from the sky high in the sky. Flames burn around it, hit the monsters on the ground. My god. The meteorite has come. Did Dieter lure a meteorite? Is this really something that humans can do? Brother Dieter is really getting more and more unreasonable, and his strength is unimaginable. Meteorite fell from the sky. The meteorites that Dieter summons are not very large, so as to avoid destroying the earth. But even this meteorite is small, also enough to create a large area. The meteorite fell. The flame was burning like a meteor shower, and it went straight into the monster group. Boom dash. The meteorite killed thousands of monsters in an instant, and even smashed the path of the monster group into a huge pit. Cut off the earth alive. Isn't this going too far? That meteorite falling from the sky or something is somewhat inappropriate. Lucy complained. Leon wiped the sweat from his forehead. This unique strength has already surpassed that of the Holy One, but I have never seen a member of the Holy Ten who can return meteorites from the air. Monster it's a humanoid monster. Yuka was surprised. The other people in the scales of Snake Princess also have a thorough understanding of Dieter's strength. and deeply sighed in their hearts. Well, it's fairy tale. It seems that the power, although it can pull meteors that are enough to destroy the continent, but don't try it. Look at the deep crater smashed by the meteorite. Dieter touched his chin to judge the power. In some senses, the ability of the gravity fruit seemed to be stronger than that of the Qinglong form. Of course, only for big moves. The rest are the monsters in the city. I'll go over there to see you guard the city. Dieter nodded to Leon. Rush towards the location of the snakes and ghosts in the distance. Come here. The fighting in the area is over, and Natsu rushes to grab Sherry at breakneck speed, like an adult bullying a child, facing the direction of the snake and ghost crowd. And in the upper left of Natsu there is a disgraced guy. This person is Blue Note, who met Sirius Island in the past. At this moment Blue Note stood stiffly on a scorched land. The wide mouth looked at Natsu in amazement. There was still a fiery flame in the air. Thinking that Natsu had just hit Blue Note. CFBB, is it over? Since it is over then let's go back. Dieter smacked his lips. Originally, he wanted to come over to see if he needed help. But now he understands that even if Natsu can't beat him, he can still beat this group of unworthy guys. Listen, a thief like you. Natsu preaches to Sherry, who stole Happy, and Dieter's mouth twitched. Natsu, you're a boy, and the little girls are naked. Are you trying to be a hooligan? Wendy noticed the scene immediately, and jumped up to cover Dieter's eyes with her hands. She called out to Xiaolulu with a blushing face. Xiaolulu, go and cover Natsu's eyes. You're so old, why are you still average? Wendy, look at Sherry. Dieter muttered. Oops Dieter bro, don't make any comments. Wendy shyly acted coquettishly. Soon Sherry found something to cover his figure before the group went back to the city. Hey, why is there such a big hole here? This pit is so deep, but when we first came out, there was no such deep pit. Impressive. Wendy and the others were also shocked when they saw the pit that Dieter smashed. Looking at the deep pit full of corpses also whispered. It was a meteorite that fell, and a small meteorite fell from the sky, killing thousands of monsters, and I was there, Dieter said. Wendy was surprised by several people, but no one thought that the meteorite would be the big guy that Dieter brought down from the sky. Let's go. Dieter didn't have to say so clearly, and greeted people back in the city. Within the city, there are dilapidated city buildings left over from the war everywhere. The monsters seem to have all returned. Finally, I was saved. Thank you Natsu and the others this time. It's inevitable. Leon and his party breathed a sigh of relief. 100,000 monsters are enough to destroy the entire city. But fortunately they were stopped in time. I haven't had enough. Natsu sighed. Happy reassured, you've made a lot of noise, Natsu. Lucy over the curiously swept through the crowd and found that he didn't see the person he was looking for, and hurriedly asked, where are Wendy and Xiaolulu? And Loki, who was summoned by Lucy, touched his chin and posed cozily, as long as 3 years later, she will be mine. Yuka answered Lucy's question. They said they'd talk alone. Everyone waited quietly. Dieter picked up a small stone from the ground and threw it towards the river not far away. A long time ago, Wendy decided to leave here with Natsu and re-establish Fairy Tail. Thank you for taking care of me for a long time. I really don't know what to say. I am too self-willed. Wendy thanked. And Leon smiled. Didn't we already agree when you joined? We agreed to stay here until the Fairy Tail reorganization. The atmosphere of parting is always very heavy. Dieter didn't like this kind of atmosphere. He leaned against the door and waited quietly. The people of Snake Princess Scales went out to escort them. Dieter et al. Are about to say goodbye. Leaving the scales of the Snake Princess, Wendy cried all the way in grievance. Wendy, how long are you going to cry? Xiaolulu said. Wendy choked up. But when Fairy Tail disbanded everyone in Snake was very nice to me and did I see you again? Dieter smiled and asked, so where are we going next? Let me see. Lucy took out some papers from her bag, which were all kinds of information she had collected in the past year. Going east from here, there is a village called Rainfall Village. I heard that the rain in that village has been falling non-stop, Lucy said. Immediately, Natsu and Happy gleamed in their eyes. Could it be that? Chapter 190. The pattering heavy rain is falling. Rainfall Village. This is a very eccentric village, often experiencing drought conditions elsewhere. But here, the rain seems to be deliberately controlled, falling only within the confines of the village. It's a strange place, only it's raining there. Lucy stood on the periphery of the village, watching the dark cloud that was caged by the village. Ning also muttered. Juvia wouldn't have been raining for no reason after she met Gray, so if Juvia was here something could have happened, Dieter said. Several people nodded and felt very reasonable. Go into the village together. There is absolutely no human breath. It seems that no one lives there. No, I smell Juvia, go this way. A few people moved forward, and Natsu's keen sense of smell soon picked up the scent in the rain. Hey, Juvia. Several people saw Juvia sitting on the bench in a daze from a distance, and immediately called. Juvia on the bench suddenly widened her eyes. She had hallucinations as she looked forward. Seeing Gray's smile, the gentleman said to her, I've kept you waiting. And Juvia immediately covered her mouth in ecstasy. Master Gray. As he said that, he threw it into Natsu's arms. Master Gray, Juvia me. However, Natsu reached out and pressed Juvia's head, You calm down. How are you? I'm relieved to see you still so excited. Long time no see, Juvia. The voices of several people awakened Juvia from the hallucination. Natsu ... T. Lucy and Wendy. Juvia recovered. Dieter asked, "You live here alone?" However, Juvia's body wobbled and fell to the ground. "Hey, what's wrong with you, Juvia?" Several people quickly carried the fainted Juvia into the room and comforted her on the bed. "She burned so badly." Wendy examines Juvia's body and feels the temperature on her forehead is also extremely different. "Staying in such a heavy rain, of course, will damage your body," Dieter complained. Lucy wiped her hair after washing out. Looking at the leaked room, "I was also curious, is this Juvia's home?" "Hey," Natsu agreed, "I smell a hint of grey bed." Juvia gasped. She said, "Juvia and Lord Grey used to live here together, just the two of us." When he said the last, he looked at Lucy very anxiously. Juvia continued, "We ate together, practiced together, worked together, and stayed in bed at night." Lucy hurriedly stopped. "Don't say it." Juvia continued, "Juvia tried to sleep together, but was taken away. I was very happy, but one day." Everyone heard Juvia's half-hearted narration of everything that happened during this time. From that day on, he often went out alone, and since half a year ago, he never came back. Juvia said, "Everyone's face is not very good." "How come?" "Actually leave without saying goodbye, that bastard." "What qualifications do you have to speak of him?" "As a result, you still walk away like him. The one who was left behind." The people were talking. Natsu glanced at Lucy, as if warning her not to continue. "Please don't flirt." Juvia on the bed quickly stopped her. "Who flirted?" Lucy quickly retorted. Dieter said, "So you don't know where Grey is?" "You're right, you wouldn't be here if you knew." Juvia was sad. "I searched everywhere for several days, but I still can't find Lord Grey. I can only wait for him here, because it's a home full of memories of Lord Grey and Juvia. I believe that one day, Lord Grey will come back." Looking at the pattering rain outside the window, Dieter pondered over the years that his plot of the world of fairy tale had blurred over the years. "Although I remember the important plots, the small things are really not so clear." He seemed to remember that Grey didn't come back because of something, and he should be alive anyway. "I'm going to help you find him." "No, I must find him, and in order to reorganize the fairy tale, I'm going to get all my companions back." Natsu swore. After speaking to appease Juvia, he also left the room. Under the eaves, Zlili's rainwater flows down the eaves, which brings inexplicable irritability in the rainy night. "Go to Swordbite Tiger, there must be news from Grey there," Natsu said. After hearing Natsu's words, Dieter suddenly realized, for flowers. Then it rang out what was going on. "If that's the case, then go ahead. After all, as a big brother, I still have to care about my brother's feelings, and I can't disturb your little lovers kissing me," Dieter said. "What? Dieter, what nonsense are you talking about?" Lucy rolled his eyes. "Warm. One leg." Happy is tongue-in-cheek. "Then we'll go." Natsu pulled Lucy away from the eaves and rushed out into the rainy night. Happy also follows. Wendy, Dieter and Carla are left alone to take care of Juvia on the hospital bed. Can they find it? Xiaolulu was a little suspicious of Natsu and Lucy's group instinctively. How could they find Grey when they went to the Tiger of Swordbite? Should be okay. Wendy believed in Natsu and felt that Grey must be found. "Hello, Wendy and Xiaolulu." "Juvia, I remember that there should be an evil sect that worships Zeref not far away. It's rare to have a chance to go over and deal with them. Maybe you can see if there are any clues about Grey." Dieter's brain was spinning fast. When Natsu said he was going to Swordbite Tiger, he also thought of where Grey was going. "It wouldn't do to make him wait here, so I just had the opportunity to go over and enter the interior. I think that the evil sect should also be able to sign in, right?" "Okay Dieter, I'll take care of Juvia." Wendy nodded. She had grown up to not need someone to take care of her, and since she was looking for clues, she wouldn't be worried. Dieter nodded and turned to leave. Avatar, it should be this name, although the guys in it are not very strong. Dieter doesn't mind running a trip in person. Just in the past, you can study whether you can get the systems check-in. According to memory, Dieter flew in the direction of Avatar at a high speed, also thinking about what to do. Speaking of which, Avatar shouldn't reject a powerful comrade in arms, right? Get inside. Dieter hadn't used this trick in a long time. The last time I used it was in another world, and this time I had a rare opportunity to regain my acting skills. Rely on realistic acting to get Avatar to invite him to join the organization. As for how to act, actually Dieter already had some ideas. Second, Chapter 191, Incarnate as a demon and sneak into the Avatar. Zeref's belief, a group of fanatical fans formed into a cult. The cult is located in a spooky forest. The base of the old nest was wrapped by a group of gloomy branches, and the roots of the branches spread inside the palace. It seems to be a strange palace born from those big trees. The palace hangs in the distance. A half-dragon, half-human monster with cyan scales wanders about. A thick tail dragged on the ground behind him, leaving a clear trace. Avatar's patrol officers heard the sound and immediately moved closer to the location. Abel is this patrol officer. When I got close to seeing the monster, I was a little horrified, and muttered to myself, who is this guy, half human, half monster, with an ominous aura on his body? He doesn't look easy to mess with. Forget it, let me report the situation. Abel murmured and turned around, 887 and returned to the base, intending to report to the priest. Abel, why didn't you come back from patrolling outside? Are you afraid of death? Why don't you die? Mary and Briar happened to be passing by. Abel held a doll-like thing in his hand. I found a guy who was half human and half monster outside. It looked terrible, so I had to report it to the priest. Briar was surprised, but he didn't have time to doubt it. Soon he followed Abel to the priest and reported what he saw. Ominous breath, half-human monster. Go and see. Priest Alok was interested, especially the inhuman monsters, which reminded him of the demons Zeref once made. A group of people came out of the palace. When I came to the place of the monster again, I was stunned by the scene in front of me. I saw that the monster's hands were covered in blood, tearing at an animal in front of him like a demon. The bloody flesh was swallowed alive by him, and the scene was extremely bloody. Vomit. Briar immediately covered his mouth and vomited when he saw that scene. Haha, Briar, you're so embarrassing. If I were you, I'd die. This scene is nothing. Mary laughed. Jerome said, it's really like a demon, let's get rid of him quickly. Demon. Half of his body turned black. Gray looked sharply at the monster in front of him. Demon? Zeref's demon? Alok is a little happy. He wants to explore, to know, to get. The sound of discussion here made the monster stop. The monster turned his head, and a pair of blood-red eyes pierced over, and it felt as biting as falling into a nice cave. Meat. Human flesh. Boom. That monster was Dieter, and his half-human, half-monster appearance was exactly the dragon-human form of Uago. Half of his face has cyan scales, and his arms and claws are gleaming. A thick tail hits the ground behind him, and every blow can make a hole. He rushed over. The slag in the forest was filled with strong winds, and the smell of blood in the mouth was blowing. Humphrey. Grace snorted coldly, and took the initiative to wave a cold air, which instantly froze Dieter. Taste. While waiting for Gray to say anything, the frozen ice sculpture was broken open by a huge force. What? Gray was surprised that someone could break free from the ice sculpture. Can't wait for him to respond. Dieter of the Dragon Man attacked like a titan, knocking Gray out in an instant. Violent beauty from start to finish. Boom boom. Gray, who was knocked out, rolled over and over in the forest. It stopped after breaking several tree trunks. This guy is so powerful. Gray was shocked. The power of this mysterious monster is obviously much stronger than he expected. Here, the uniqueness of the dragon people did not stop there. Meat human meat damn, all damn nozzles. He raised his claws and tore at the remaining guys. The bloody pavement on the claws game. It stopped suddenly in front of the priest. It wasn't Dieter who wanted to start, but the little house next to him was holding a doll in his hand, with Dieter's hair on it. Whoops, humans. Damn humans. Dieter tried his best to show his struggle, making the guy named Abel's face change constantly. Master Priest, you'd better think of a solution quickly. This monster's power is far beyond imagination. I'm about to lose control, Abel said. Several other members were also surprised. And the priest is even more obsessed. Perfect. It's a perfect devil. It's so powerful. It's amazing. It's amazing. Humans are courting death. Dieter continued to pretend to struggle. That Jingu took a deep breath. Demon. Are you a demon made by Zeref? Sudden. After hearing this, Dieter stopped struggling, looked suspiciously at the priest in front of him and asked, who are you? Are you also trying to destroy the enemy of Lord Zeref? I will definitely kill you. I will definitely kill you. Continued to struggle. The power is venting frantically again. The guy who controlled the Dieter turned pale, clenched his teeth and couldn't hold on. No, we're Zeref loyalists. I know you don't believe it, but we're executing a plan. A great plan. The priest frantically talked about the future he enjoyed. And Dieter also admired the constant questioning, and then slowly believed. Cunning human, I believe you for the time being. As long as you let me see Lord Zeref, I can help you eradicate all enemies, even the Holy 10 I have killed. Dieter's tone revealed endless strength. But these words surprised Gray, who came back, and he couldn't help thinking of the missing old man. Okay. The priest snickered. This side also immediately invited Dieter to walk inside the palace. The road tells a very moving future. Back at the palace, several people sat down and chatted with each other. You also killed Saint Ten? How is that possible? Gray began to inquire vaguely. The other members also looked at the newly added monster curiously. Meow meow. Dieter said hoarsely, yeah, it's an old man 1.1, a very ridiculous old man, who keeps saying that he is embracing the world, but he was torn to pieces by me, and even the bones were eaten in the stomach. Shock. Gray's eyes narrowed, and absolute zero air conditioning condensed on his body. Really? He murmured. Briar, who was sitting across from him, laughed and mocked. As far as I know, the Holy 10 is all good, but the only thing I can't find is the president of the Fairy Tale Guild, and this ice cube was once a member of the guild. Sudden hanging. The table in front of Dieter burst apart. Powerful hostility glared at Gray, with a smile. Is it your gang who wiped out Tartaros? Puff. In this way, it seems very likely that the old man I ate was also half a year ago. Slightly tilde. The sound of teeth squeezing. Gray's heart was full of anger, and he could not wait to kill this monster on the spot. Chapter 192. Nature Department Middle. Frozen fruit ability. But he still held back. I've long since left the self-righteous guild of fairy tale. My goal is the end book, and I'm here for that, as long as I can get. Gray said, bowing his head, and a sinister smile leaked from the corner of his mouth, whispered like a mad demon, as long as I get that book, I don't care about the rest. I have long forgotten about the guild, I just want to get the book. No, I only live to defeat and I don't care to take advantage of you, or anyone, for its sake. Hear him. Several other members jumped their eyes. Brian muttered, vengeance has dyed his body and mind black. This conversation was a success. In other words, Dieter's infiltration was very successful, just as he thought. Those who worship Zeref have a unique obsession with taking demons as their subordinates. Yeah, meow, whatever you want. I just want to see Lord Zeref. Don't bother me before I leave, or I'll kill you, Dieter said. 25. Several other members disagreed. Gray, get out of here if you're here. Sudden. There was an ear-piercing call from the church. From the church? Intruder? Interesting. Several members were very surprised and did not expect to hear this voice. And Dieter laughed loudly. Ho ho ho, I didn't expect your place to be invaded so easily by outsiders. What a shame. The members were very uncomfortable with Dieter's words, but they could not refute. They had to get up and walk outside one by one, preparing to kill the intruders. After a few people left, Dieter was not in such a hurry, but chose to sign in. Ding. Sign into Avatar and get a chance to draw a lottery. In this lottery, there is a 12% chance for Superman, a 34% chance for Animal, and a 54% chance for Nature. Is there a lottery? Smoke. Dieter immediately started the lottery, with a little anticipation in his heart, not knowing what kind of ability he would get this time. Ding. Congratulations to the master for obtaining the ability of Nature, Frozen Fruit, full level. The sweet voice of the system assistant reverberated. It was the most beautiful sound, and it gave Dieter a powerful force. Frozen Fruit ability. It's a really good ability. Dieter smiled, roughly judging in his heart. He continued to wait for the next plan. Waited for about half a day. The priest greeted people to set off. Dieter naturally followed behind, quietly waiting for the big gathering. At the same time, in the cell, Goman is executing Lucy. Caning, waxing, waterboarding, rope torture, and foot licking. You choose one. Goman binds Lucy. Show her all her torture tools and give Lucy a chance to choose. Choose licking the sole of the foot. It doesn't sound very painful. Natsu followed with advice, and Goman's brows twitched slightly. It seems that you don't understand the true meaning of interrogation. This is to strip and fix the feet of the victim, apply salt water, and then let goats. In order to obtain salt, the goats will start to lick their feet. After a while, the skin of the soles of the feet will be cut by the rough sheep's tongue, and the meat will be scraped off. And the goat will still go on, never stop. Happy exclaimed, it sounds more painful than I thought. And Goman starts dipping Lucy in salt water. You better tell who ordered you here, while the girl's feet are still there. Whoa. Natsu struggled. Didn't you say it? We just want to bring Gray back. Goman retorted, it will take me to say it several times before you understand that Lord Gray is our companion and will never go with you. He's our comrade. Natsu retorted, roaring, if that guy can't trust himself, let's trust him to shut up. Sudden. Goman scolded, and the chain on Lucy's side moved directly. Wow la la. It didn't take long to pull Lucy up. Holding a giant axe, Goman came to Lucy, held the giant axe high and said, I gave up licking the soles of my feet. Thorn la la tilde. Goman's axe fell, and a sudden burst of ice froze Goman instantly. Gray appears, grabbing his hair. He muttered, damn it, it's all your fault. My plans are all in vain. Lucy and Natsu are so confused here. I didn't understand what Gray meant, so I could only wait quietly for his answer. And Gray took out a small contact magic crystal that looked like a mobile phone and dialed a message. I'm Code Blue. I'm in a bit of trouble. Do not number. How do I know? You ask him directly. Saying that, Gray threw something to Natsu and let them talk. Then Gray continued, Erza, things are a little troublesome. Erza asked, what? Gray explained, it's like this. Just a few hours later, a demon appeared on my side, and was harvested by the priest. The demon's momentum was very powerful. Really? Erza wondered. The most important thing is that I learned from the mouth of this demon that he probably killed the Holy Ten half a year ago. Gray didn't finish his sentence, but hearing this made Erza and Gray and Lucy's eyes widen. As far as I know, the original Holy Ten is there. The only thing that isn't there is Lucy didn't dare to go on. Natsu suddenly roared. How is it possible? I don't believe it either, but the devil doesn't have to lie, so we have to prepare for the worst. Gray reminded. Silence. Continued to be silent. Ilu 903 Sha took a deep breath. The specific truth will be known when the devil is caught. I hope what he said is false. Yes, they all hope it's fake news. But everyone only knows that there is no need for the devil to lie, and there is no news about Makarov of the Holy Ten. So, where is that devil? Take me there. Natsu got up angrily, pushed Gray and walked outside, obviously very interested in that demon. Decided to ask in person. 6 months ago, Erza received a request from Gel to investigate the black magic group involving Zeref. At that time, When the investigation was entering a bottleneck, I happened to meet me, and when we exchanged the current situation, Erza thought of this infiltration plan. So it sneaks away. On the way Gray will tell Natsu and Lucy the plan. Natsu replied, it's enough to destroy them by force. Wouldn't that be a piece of cake for you and Erza? However, Gray denied, that's impossible. Avatar's scale is far beyond our imagination. I just sneaked into one of the branches, where the headquarters and the other branches are. They don't know each other. A little carelessness may not prevent the purification operation, so we can only wait until today. After listening to Gray's words, Lucy and Natsu both have very serious expressions, and they are also very strict with this guy. Chapter 193, How could, should not be. Marba Town. It's a plain outside, but in fact countless Zeref zealots have gathered here. Why didn't Briar, Gray and Goman come? Jerome asked Briar next to him. Probably dealing with the two captives? Briar replied. Jerome muttered, Goman is gone. Why isn't Gray here? He really is. Ho ho, maybe it's an insider. Goblins are not good people. Dieter interjected appropriately. Briar said, I said, there are monsters in the lower lashes. But it doesn't matter now. Lower eyelashes? Monster? Briar ignored the words of the two people and continued, the number of believers, for the purification battle. Even people from the branch who did not know each other gathered together. At this point, neither the Stripper nor the Senate have come to stand a chance against our faith. Several people nodded. Looking at the number of people, there is really no need to worry. The priest held his scepter high. Now we will start the purification operation of Marba Town. The city is innocent. 30,000 lives are busy in the ignorance of fate, and their pure souls will lead him to this land, Zeref the Black Mage. In order to walk side by side with him, we will offer 30,000 lives as a tribute to purify all life in this city. Come on, kill. The cry of countless followers. Raising the weapon in his hand, he slaughtered the city ahead. 30,000 people? I don't know how many people I can deal with. Dieter muttered softly. Late. Are the monsters going to attack the enemy? Then let's see your power. Haha, I hope it's not too embarrassing. Otherwise it really doesn't deserve to be called a devil. I'm just standing here watching. Several members were talking, and they thought that Dieter was about to attack the city, all waiting with smiles. And Dieter's body slowly flew up. You won't be disappointed. Fei Kong's body quickly rushed to the top of the group of people who were attacking the city. Front. Natsu and Gray and Lucy naturally saw the figure in the sky. That guy is the newly added monster. You have to be careful. This guy really looks like a monster. I don't know how strong he is, but I'm burning. I will try my best. The three of them were waiting. And Dieter in the air crossed his hands, and the cold breath blew. Sudden, two icicles hit the ground. Ice Age. What? The white ice stretched out along the ground. All the believers who attacked the city were instantly icy cold, and at that moment, the whole city outside was a world of ice. How is it possible? Why would that monster attack my own people? It's so cold. The three Greys widened their eyes and looked at the frozen ground in front of them. They were completely shocked. They had never seen such a powerful ability before. And the smiles of several members who were watching the play behind them also solidified on their faces. This idiot has attacked his own people. How can he attack the city after all of them are frozen? D6 reprimanded. And Briar said with a grim face, you are the idiot. This guy is an insider. Definitely not ours. This guy. It's too much. It's so annoying. Why is this monster? It turned out to be an enemy. Damn it. Several members were outraged, seeing the monster in the sky that froze everyone in an instant. He was also furious. I can't wait to rush to tear him up immediately. Betrayal. Betrayed Zeref and killed him. Go and kill him for me. Priest Locke is the most angry person. He trusted the enemy. It turned out that this monster was for Zeref. But now it is blocked from it. Alright, let's kill this betrayal. Mary said. Several guys rushed towards Dieter in the air. The people on Gray's side were still in a state of confusion, especially Erza, who came up from the rear, was even more puzzled. Still confused after the turn with Natsu. What the hell is going on here, Gray? Didn't you say that this monster is probably the one who hurt the president? Erza asked hurriedly. Gray also had a terrible headache. How do I know? Now that I think about it, this guy is likely to sneak into Avatar like me, but his trick is really handsome, and it takes no effort to destroy him in one fell swoop. And Natsu wasn't so happy, scratching his head here. Damn it, I'm ready to fight, but it's me. I'm not convinced. Anyway, let those guys try this monster's skills first, and we'll get on it later. Erza thought of a plan. A few people except Natsu reluctantly agreed, and Dieter in the air also fell. Confront each other with those members. Who the hell are you guys? Why are you blocking our plan? Aren't you going to see Zeref? Jerome asked, and Dieter grinned. Ho ho, it's just over the top for a mere human to want to see Lord Zeref. Obviously Dieter is addicted to acting and pretending to be a demon at this time. If that's the case, then you're going to die, Briar said, and greeted a few people to charge up. Rubbish. Dieter muttered to himself, and reached out a gesture. The feet of several guys cracked open, and several members were lifted into the air. Go to hell. As Dieter spoke, a flame that ignited the world rushed out. destroyed towards the sky. One strike. It drowned those members. The fire blazed into the sky. Gray and the others were stunned again. What's going on? It's ice and fire for a while. What kind of magic is this monster? Gray was frantic. Natsuami, that flame is a bit familiar and seems to have smelled it from somewhere. No, as good. Erza and Lucy were equally puzzling. The flame is gone. Those members didn't have any resistance at all, and were burned alive by Dieter's flame without leaving any ashes. Thinking of the pace of progress, Dieter walked up to Erza and the others. Erza and the others were immediately vigilant. Humble human beings, you. Sorry, too deep into the play. Natsu and the others were a little confused. At this moment, Dieter's monster's appearance quickly changed. The handsome face reappears. Diddy Dieter? Brother Dieter, how could it be you? What the hell are you? Why are you here? Then what happened outside just now? And there was ice. Several people were stunned. They really didn't expect that the monster they originally planned to fight would be Dieter. This scripture, chapter 194, holding her is just a couple. Why can't it be me? You are allowed to sneak into the enemy camp, Gray, and I'm not allowed to sneak in. Dieter pouted. Going to Erza's side, I continued to say, I learned the ice ability in the past year. Confused, curious. But soon Erza's face turned red. Rolling his eyes shyly, he said, so many people, you have a leg. Several people suddenly rolled their tongues to joke. Erza was blushing again, which damaged the majesty of her eldest sister. So, it's fake to kill the 10th? Gray asked hurriedly. Dieter shrugged. Said, I know some news about the president, but it's better to deal with the enemy first. The priest is not easy. Let me. Natsu immediately volunteered to fight next. It is really too uncomfortable to hold back, so I plan to exercise my body properly. As he spoke, he rushed out to attack the priest. Dieter and the others watched quietly. After all, the enemy had been eliminated by Dieter alone, so the priest was the only one left. By the way, why can't I feel the magic power from these ices? Gray touched the ice in front of him. There is no magic power fluctuation. You must know that magic power is required to use magic power, and these do not seem to be pure ice. It looks like Gray, you haven't practiced yet. You can think about it for yourself. I won't tell you the specifics. Dieter fooled around with a smile. Left alone, Gray was puzzled. He can only squat on the ground and constantly study these ices, trying to analyze the problems of these ices. By the way, what happened to your appearance, Brother Dieter? While watching the battle, Lucy asked abruptly, causing both Erza and Gray to look over. Before Dieter didn't look like a human at all. How did he achieve the same state as a monster? Dragon transformation. Partial dragon transformation. When I was Tartaros, the blue dragon that fought with the fire dragon king. Dieter told Erza to remove the armor from his hands. She squeezed her hand tightly, and said absently to Gray and Lucy, Dragon transformation. Dieter turned out to be a dragon ... And is it still a dragon that can transform into a human? Amazing. Several people were a little surprised, and of course the most surprising ones were Gray and Happy. After all, these two people didn't know that Dieter was the dragon. Dragon transformation doesn't affect your body, right? Erza thought of Akuro and asked Dieter worriedly. No. He was transformed into a dragon after killing too many dragons, and I can transform into a human by training myself. You don't have to worry about this. In fact, it is very common for a dragon to transform into a human form, Dieter replied. At this moment Erza was in a tangle. After thinking for a long time, this cautious question, if Dieter is a dragon, if Mira Jane and I were pregnant, would it be a CFBB dragon? Happy as well as Lucy and Gray all sensed the interesting topic and quietly pricked up their ears. You're not a female dragon, how could you give birth to a dragon? Dieter quipped. Erza breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. It's still a bit unacceptable to let her have a dragon. Master Gray, let's have a baby too. Sudden, Gray rushed over a cloud of water not far away, and it was Juvia. When she rushed over to hear the topic of conversation, she immediately gave Gray advice. Sister Lucy, Erza, Dieter and Gray. Wendy also followed closely behind, landing next to a few people and saying hello with a smile. Sudden, a huge vortex appeared in the sky. Lucy and the others felt a little tingling in their bodies, and an indescribable fear appeared. What happened? There's a tingling sensation in my body. I feel the whirlpool of magic. The sky has changed. A huge soul fell from the sky. Boom dash. That kick crushed all the believers who had turned into ice sculptures below. Everyone get out of the way. You will be trampled. Gray yelled. Immediately pulled Juvia away from the coverage of the sole of the foot. And so did Dieter. One of the 18 fighting gods of the devil. Dieter looked at the huge monster that couldn't see the top, and his face was full of amazement. The giant monster is opposed to Natsu. Unprecedented fighting spirit erupted between the two, and Natsu rushed towards the huge monster angrily, and the monster also waved the sharp blade in his hand. Boom dash. The sharp blade slashed, and the ground split open into a deep canyon. Divide the whole earth in two. The soldiers in the ice sculpture were killed and injured by this sword. Very pitiful. Dieter shook his head and released all the frozen people, letting them escape on their own. Softer. The gust of wind blowing under the sword was unsteady, and they could only exchange and support each other to look at the huge monster. I saw a figure appear on the broad blade-like land, climbing on the body of the huge monster with both hands and feet. There is someone on the sword. The exclamation made everyone look at it, and it was vaguely able to clearly distinguish who it was. Natsu. Looks like he handled it. Dieter clicks his tongue. The rest of them also watched silently. They all believed that Natsu would take down one of the huge 18 fighting gods, and watched him wait for the end of the battle. When the priest saw Natsu rushing to Dushen beyond his capacity, he immediately laughed and mocked. What you do is in vain. Dushen is the god of war, and human beings cannot compete with him at all. Give your souls, my fellow men. Give your souls to Zeref. Boom. However, it was Natsu who responded with a blow, a flaming flame that ignited the sky. The power of the Fire Dragon King is coming. The god of fighting, who was considered a powerful one, was not Natsu's opponent at all. That punch shattered the god of fighting. Smash everything. The body of the giant beast that was looking up was shattered inch by inch. The hope of the purification plan completely disappeared, and all the members fled around in a panic. Everyone wants to run away. But soon, a group of people wearing the law enforcement uniforms of the Senate rushed up and arrested all those who escaped. Arrest everyone. Don't let them escape. Wow. Dieter also saw someone coming. Gagil and Bont slowly. Arrest? As you can see, he is a member of the Senate. How can it be? Several people were greatly surprised, as if they were hallucinating. The group quickly gathered together. So it's Sibi and Lily. There's someone who looks like Gagil. Natsu greeted. See the instinctive denial of the guy in the uniform. Do you want to fight, bastard? Gagil growled. Natsu groaned. Oh, that Gagil couldn't possibly be a counselor. Gagil replied. When I was looking for a place to eat, I received an invitation from the old wooden man, so I am now standing on the top of the guild. By the way, you are also under arrest, Fire Dragon. You are tired of sinful eyes. Lucy was arrested for misdressing. Juvia was arrested for wetness. Happy was arrested for eating too much fish. Wendy was arrested for their respective petty crimes. Dieter, take it. Why is Dieter here? Haven't you disappeared? Gagil assigns the crimes one by one. After seeing Dieter, he was suddenly surprised. He obviously didn't expect Dieter to appear here, and Dieter's mouth twitched. Gagil, you are stripped of your status as a member of the Council for slander. Take off your uniform now. Bastard, you are not my boss, Gagil retorted. After the quarrel, everyone finally started chatting in groups of 3s and 2s. Cherish the rare opportunity to get together. Chapter 195, The 7th President, Dieter. Magnolia Town. 1 year is enough to change many things, for the people of the guild. This city holds so many memories. When I set foot in the city again, I was filled with fear and fear. Day 5 after fairy tale reconstitution. In the ruins of the original guild, everyone is working hard to rebuild the fairy tale, and many people are working hard. Dieter, bring the wood over there. Over there. Erza saw Dieter resting on the wood and immediately beckoned him to help quickly. Tiny. Dieter disapproved and stretched out his fingers, and the wood over there was suspended and flew in Erza's direction. Wow, what kind of magic is this? What kind of magic did Dieter learn after not seeing him for a year? This, it's amazing. Dieter is such a genius. Every time I see him, I can discover new magic, and this time I am afraid it will become more powerful. Yes, it's amazing. Between the guilds, Dieter took control of the wood and was shocked. Then came the shock and discord. Erza, Dieter, come here. At this time, Mira Jane called 2 people over there. When I came near, I found that Levy was filling in the information, which seemed to be some information from the guild. The choice of the 7th generation president. Dieter looked at Levy's information and touched his chin. Yes, considering that President Makarov is not here, we must choose a town to live with them, so I want to discuss with you. Levy nodded. Mira Jane proposes. Erza and Dieter are fine. Pick Dieter. Erza gave it to Dieter without a second thought. Isn't it okay if you don't write it? You can get the president back in a few days. There's no need to choose a 7th generation. Dieter was reluctant. There were various suggestions for Levy here, but unfortunately they were all rejected. No president is not recognized by the Senate, even if it is only temporary. It should be elected. Levy said. Erza said, let's just write about Dieter. He's very strong, and he's also the eldest brother in the guild. Whatever you say is suitable. Mira Jane hit you. It's just a little lazy. After hearing what the 2 women said, Dieter rolled his eyes and said, then write it. By the way, Dieter agrees. Then he looked up at the person who was slowly approaching. Dieter really does the job. Mest said. The whole group raised their eyebrows. The impression of Mest is not too clear. I have been waiting for this moment, waiting for the moment when everyone reunites. The only ones who can save the 6th generation President Makarov are you. Shock. After hearing Mest's words, it was too late for everyone to think about his identity. They were all taken aback by his words. Please come with me, the 7th generation president, and the others will wait for the time being. Mest looked at Dieter's invitation. The other people were very puzzled, but they didn't say anything. Dieter followed. Walk into an underground passage under the lead of Mest. Speechless all the way. This made Mest curious. Don't you want to know where I'm taking you? Dieter's mouth twitched. Answer, it should be the secret of the Fairy Tale Guild. I often chat with the old man. After all, he planned to make me the president of the old man before, so I also know something. Mest paused slightly and sighed. Sure enough, in fact, only past presidents can enter this place. Well, the reason why you can enter is because the president told you? Dieter asked. Mest nodded undeniably. Yes, this place has the top secret of Fairy Tale, Lumen, Starlight. Go into the secret basement. I saw the body covered by ice. That's the first generation. Wow. Sudden. The door behind him was knocked open, and several people fell to the ground in embarrassment. The most embarrassing thing was Erza, who was pressing Grey and the others. Her face was extremely red. Do you believe me when I said it was searched? Mest sighed. I was going to tell Dieter not to let anyone else know. Natsu and the others all stood up. Too cunning. You should tell us too. What is this? Is this the body of the first generation? Is she still alive? Why is the first generation in the crystal underground in the guild? Everyone looked curiously at the words behind Mest in front of them, and Dieter nodded, and it was unnecessary to hide it now. For flowers. Mest nodded when he saw this. Soon a lot of memories emerged in everyone's mind. This is the same as what Brother Dieter said. Dieter said about that country. Lucy and Natsu were surprised after absorbing Mest's memory. And Mest was also surprised. Yes, I have been to the Western continent, the Albert Empire within a year. The emperor of this country is the Zeref of the Black Mage, and the total victory of this empire is enough to crush Ishkar, Dieter admits. He continued, and I also got the news that the guild leader went to that country. I also tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. I originally planned to announce it after the reconstruction of the guild was completed. Several people were shocked. They were far from expecting the original president to have such a thing. According to this, the old man went to which country and never came back? He dissolved the guild for all of us. Hasn't there been any news this year? Mest didn't stop the president from going to another continent. Obviously it's impossible to agree even if you stop it. Everyone was very worried. After all, going to that country is like a wolf entering a tiger's mouth. Once you go in, you really can't get out. According to the plan of the 6th generation president, I ran around for the Resurrection Council, and asked Lord Warrad to ask him to form a new council with the Holy 10 Great Demons as the center. Mest said. Lucy also recalled, speaking of which, I've also heard about the whereabouts of the president, which is also an unresolved issue by the council. Mest sighed. Lord Warrad knows what's going on, but the others shouldn't. But for the threat posed by the Albert Empire, everyone has reached a consensus. Therefore, the line of defense was immediately deployed, and the deterrent force against the Western continent was gradually increased. It stands to reason that the old man successfully delayed the time and should have come back, but the news of the reorganization of Fairy Tale should have been passed on long ago, and he has not returned yet, I am afraid. Dieter didn't say anything after that. In fact, everyone can guess that the possibility is really very large. In particular, the Emperor of the Western Continent is the evil sorcerer Zeref. This matter is very likely to lead to the arrest of Makarov in the Western Continent. B. Chapter 196. Nature Department Sparkling Fruit Ability. So our current plan is to go to the Western Continent to rescue the old man. Natsu said. Mest nodded. That's right. I have followed the President's instructions to resurrect the Council, and I will act as a fairy tale wizard from now on. Happy immediately excited. As long as the members of the guild are united, no enemy is scary. Let's go together. Xiaolulu said. Wait, etc. Erza and Dieter immediately stopped talking. Erza said, that is an opponent that even the president thinks has no chance of winning. We can't rush over like this. We have become much stronger in the past year. No matter what kind of enemy we encounter, we will never lose. Natsu retorted unwillingly. Dieter shook his head. It's not that simple. The 12 guardian shields owned by the Albert Empire are each more powerful than the 4 heavenly kings of Ishkar. If they really fight, Fairy Tale will be hurt again. 933, as the 7th generation president, it is impossible for me to agree to your all-out plan. Erza was very pleased that Dieter was able to watch this event as the president. But we have to rescue the president. So, it's just a matter of those who are there at the moment. Erza said. However, no, Dieter retorted. Before waiting for everyone to be happy, he grinned and replied, me and Mess just go. We can both teleport. It will be very easy to rescue the president and escape. No, absolutely no. I'm going to. This time even Erza was reluctant, apparently knowing that if only Dieter and Mest go, a lot of big things will happen. Maybe it will make the relationship between the two countries even more anxious. I also think that we should all go. Dieter's strength and anger are impossible to admit. Maybe it will make the West continent and us. Mest said leisurely. He must agree with Dieter's strength. After all, he wanted to invite Dieter to join when the Senate was rebuilt. Whether it is strength or popularity, it is very suitable. But if you go to the Western continent alone, you might dismantle the empire there. You are targeting me. Dieter's eyes suddenly dropped, and he glanced at the people in front of him to complain. It's not the war, It's a dive into rescue operation. It must not cause any insignificant fights and incidents. I don't even want you to go, Erza said. Natsu kept nodding his head. Yes, don't let him go. As the 7th generation president, he should serve the majority of the members, stay and rebuild the guild. Yeah, if he was in the past, maybe he would kill a few people to play. It would only make the battle between the two sides come faster. Gray also very much agrees with Natsu. Several people had a clear understanding of Dieter's strength, and knew that he would never. Dieter sneered at the guys Gray and Natsu. If it wasn't for the inappropriate occasion, I really wanted to beat them up. Well, let the people present go. There will definitely be an inevitable battle. The strength of the 7th generation president is still useful. Maybe it was too bad to see Dieter. Mest still rarely helped to speak. Nice job, Mest. S-class mage definitely has a place for you, Dieter praised. Mest laughed. President, stop joking. Ha 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 he he he. Several people laughed. Dieter announced, if that's the case, then let's go. Go early and return early to avoid suspicion from the rest of the guild. Everyone agrees. On a vast sea. Ding. Congrats to the master for becoming the 7th generation guild president and rewarding 3 lottery chances. Is there a lottery? Dieter and his party are heading to the ship of the Albert Empire. Several people were basking on the deck, while Dieter was fishing with a rod on the side of the boat. The system assistant in his mind rang out, rewarding him with 3 chances to draw a lottery. Great. 3 times, Dieter muttered. Now his strength is very strong. Especially after the awakening of the animal system, his strength has reached the peak of the fairy tale world. Although I haven't tried it, I generally feel that his strength is enough to compete with Zeref and Akuro Nokia. For him, today's lottery opportunities have been unable to enhance his strength too much. 1. Do not overwhelm your skills. Everyone wants fancy abilities. At least he is very willing to get more abilities. Pump it. Pick it up once first. Dieter originally wanted to take it 3 times, but then he thought that if he took so many times, there might not be anything good, so he should take it slowly. Extracting. Waiting silently. It is also very curious about what abilities can be drawn this time. There does not seem to be much fruit ability of the bug in the pirate world, especially those that can improve his strength. Ding. Congratulations to the master for extracting the ability of nature type glittering fruit. Full level. 666. Dieter shouted 6 in his heart, and glitter fruit is quite fancy. Maybe you can try the sentence have you been kicked by the speed of light again? Exclamation mark. Speaking of the light attribute, can I also learn the super magic of the guild, the law of fairies, etc.? Dieter thinks it can be studied. Anyway, the strength improvement is very small today. It is better to study several attributes of the lower body. Maybe it is possible to learn similar magic in the fairy tale world. Here Dieter studies abilities while fishing. On the boat, Natsu held on to the suggestion in disgust. Would you like to take a boat? Even Natsu, who has become very powerful, is extremely embarrassed by the swaying ship at this moment. Otherwise, how do you think you're going? Gray didn't complain when Natsu was so embarrassed. For example, you can use Mest's teleportation, Natsu said. Mest was speechless. I can't do that far away. Natsu added, then let Dieter become a dragon, and we ride him and fly over. A dragon that big is big enough for us to sit on. Dieter, who was fishing, was a little confused. Turning his head to look at Natsu, how beautiful do you think? If you are going to tear down the Albert Empire with me, maybe I can take you there. Then let's go. Natsu was ecstatic. Peng. However, Lucy slammed Natsu's head with his fist, rolled his eyes and said, Dieter, don't tempt him, maybe he'll really rush to fight. Erza was also embarrassed. Dieter, don't always think about fighting, now you are the president, pay attention to your identity. Ha 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 tilde. Dieter smiled and stopped talking. And Natsu staggered towards Wendy begging, Wendy that dizzy magic. Whimper. However, Wendy is also clinging to the side of the boat and retching 1.1. I'm sorry. I seem to have become dizzy as soon as I get on the transportation. Woo tilde. Wendy's breathless. Gray over there couldn't help but complain. I can't move you guys into the bedroom. Erza looks out to the sea. Asked, how long will it take to get to Albert? Mest replied, it takes 10 days by boat to reach the western continent, and a few days to reach the capital. See Erza's face full of thoughts. Mest reassured, I can understand your urgency, but you mustn't be in a hurry. Let's stop at Galak Town, a sightseeing spot ahead, to supply supplies and ingredients. We're going to meet up with the intelligence agent in Galak Hill and ask the man for the route to infiltrate. Everyone understands. Dieter over there finally put away his fishing rod. It is difficult to catch fish in such a big sea. He walked up to Erza and said, don't worry, the old man will be fine. Chapter 197, Landing on the Island, Enemy Attack. Garakal Island, offshore. I see. Galak Hill Island. Quick, get ready to disembark. Chirping tilde. After driving for a long time, the sight of a transiting island in the distance also made several people happy, especially Natsu and Wendy wanted to fly to the island immediately. The feeling of being on the boat was too uncomfortable, etc. Suddenly Erza stopped the restless people. I saw several huge dark ships docked on the sea ahead, with emblems printed on the bows that had never been seen before. Mest suddenly exclaimed, the ship of the Alba's Imperial Army. They seem to be conducting some inspections at the port. Gray asked hastily, then can't we get close to this island? They're searching for our fellow spy. But it looks like the spy hasn't been caught yet. Wendy and Natsu cling to the side of the boat, talking about the current situation on the island with a sad face. They heard the conversation on the island. The intelligence officer must be contacted before they do anything. Erza said solemnly. The top priority is to connect with fellow spy to make the next plan. Do some disguise and land on the island. Dieter stepped forward. The group nodded in agreement, and soon docked the ship at the port on the island. 25. Port temporarily blocked. Everyone lined up. Everyone entering and leaving the island must undergo identity and luggage checks. A group of soldiers guarded the entrance and exit. All personnel entering and leaving the island are strictly screened, and a series of links such as questioning, investigation, and identity verification are strictly guarded against. Soon, a group of disguised data came to the inspection gate. We came to this island for sightseeing. I heard that the star mango on this island is the best in the world. I'm looking forward to it. A few women gave full play to the ability of 3 women to play in one play, and they managed to get through it under the rhetoric. Dieter rubbed his nose and glanced recklessly across the island. Seeing and hearing shrouded the entire island at the same time, and quickly locked onto a certain target. Give me back Daddy. Where did you take my dad? After entering the island, there was an accident in front of the convenient, and everyone's eyes successfully looked over. After 3 counts, there will be a fight. Believe it or not, Dieter stood beside Mest and extended 3 fingers to him. No way, Erza, they don't do that. Before Met's words were finished, Erza Gray and the others rushed up. Without a word, he knocked down a few soldiers who grabbed the child. How is it? Dieter patted Mest on the shoulder a little bit. Seems to say you kid to see if I'm right. We can't leave this island anymore. Mest was speechless. Dieter shrugged. So, as a member of the Fairy Tale Guild, you have to be mentally prepared to make a big deal at any time. Do you think you will live in peace this time? It's impossible not to demolish a few palaces. There. Gray immediately ordered, Mest, go away. We'll split up next. Take advantage of the commotion here. You should hurry up and contact the intelligence officer, Dieter said. Mest nodded. Quickly used teleportation magic to leave the scene. Then let's make a fuss, Dieter said that with his pistols on his hands. Aiming at a group of soldiers who were outflanking from the rear to launch an attack, musket dash. Groups of small flames shot from the fingertips. The soldiers who were hit were instantly knocked out and fell to the ground again. I don't know if he died or just fell. Not to be outdone, Erza and the others easily brought down the many soldiers who came to encircle and suppress them. Although the streets and surrounding shops are messed up, but still easy. Boring. Are you sure it's these guys who made the old man so nervous? Gray complained. Erza reminded, it is estimated that there will be people on board to come to reinforce. In short, don't be careless. Right, Dieter also answered. Lucy and Gray looked, only to find Erza, Dieter and Natsu sitting at a small vendor's table. Already started to taste that delicious star mango. You guys are so relaxed, you don't look anxious at all. Lucy was speechless. The stall owner laughed. Don't make things too much, said the boss. Gray was a little surprised. Asked, boss, you dare to do business in this commotion? But you have the courage of a businessman. Ha ha. The boss smiled. It's nothing. Fights of this level are common, and business is more important. I'm going to save money to go to Ishka. Someone is coming. Dieter didn't let the boss continue talking, and reminded him with delicious fruit. Snapped. As soon as the voice fell, the stall in front of him exploded instantly. Overturning Natsu also surprised Erza. Clap clap. Qualified. A person walked up slowly behind the crowd, with sunglasses hanging from their foreheads. Look Sven, he introduced. I am Marlene Hollow. I belong to the Brandish team of the Alba's Imperial Army. Erza was angry at the star mango who could no longer eat. The revenge of Xing mango is handed over to me to avenge. As she said that, she stepped forward, her body surging with magic power, ready to fight. Qualified at any time. Marlene Hollow had a happy smile on her face, as if very polite. What nonsense. Dessert's resentment is amazing. Dress up. Erza began to change clothes, but the magic was agitated but failed. Natsu's eyes widened immediately behind him. Marlene said, no, the space is all mine. 933 Night is a magic that instantly equips weapons in other dimensions. So space magic can't be used. It can't be used in front of me. Lucy immediately took out the key and waved it. If that's the case, then open it. The door of Sagittarius failed. Lucy's magic is also ineffective. Marlene shrugged and said helplessly, celestial spirit magic is also a space. After speaking, he raised a finger. There is one more thing. I forgot to say, those who break the laws of space in front of me will be invited to my entertainment space. Sudden. The silhouettes of Lucy and Erza faded. It will soon disappear in front of you. Whoa. A space crack appeared, and the crack spread round. Lucy and Erza, who were about to disappear, reappear. Hey, don't touch my people. Dieter stepped forward with a spoon, stood in front of Erza and Lucy, and ate star mango quietly. Marlene is sorry. He still hasn't figured out what's going on. How could this person in front of him restrain his ability out of thin air in front of his dimension? Space magic. It's very powerful magic, but unfortunately my magic can shatter space, so your little tricks are like children's mud games. Dieter shook his head with contempt in his eyes. Chapter 198, Enemy, Guardian 12 Shields. Damn it man, is the delusion running wild in my space? Marlene's face changed dramatically. Blue veins covered the entire face, and the originally pleasant smiling face instantly turned into an angry and vicious look. Bright. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure came to Dieter's back. Careful. Watch out Dieter. Natsu and Gray immediately reminded. Dieter shook his head and threw away the star mango in his hand. His arm was covered in armed color, and he grabbed it with a backhand. Cough tilde. Catch Marlene who suddenly appeared behind her. White light shrouded his palm. Dieter reminded. Don't just show up behind others, idiot. He pinched Marlene's neck and patted it on the ground. Hum. Whoa whoa whoa. Boom. The ground cracked, and the cracks spread very quickly in all directions. Cough cough. Marlene's pupils dilated, and at that moment he realized that the space magic he was proud of could not be used. Instead, a powerful shattering sensation poured into his neck. Make him cough up blood when he wants to. Close hand. Dieter clapped his palm and kicked Marlene to the back of the crowd. Puff. Marlene's body rolled to the feet of the woman. The woman said, "Don't break my people, okay?" Gray's group turned their head suddenly. They didn't find out when this woman appeared. After seeing that woman, several people's eyes widened. The magic is horrible. This woman looks like she knows she's not a guy to mess with. Dieter, watch out. This new woman is definitely not to be messed with. Gray and the others were all ready. The magic power of this woman made them terrified. The bottomless magic power was definitely stronger than everyone they had seen before. La la, it's amazing. And Unique still doesn't care. For him, this person is just a slightly bigger ant. Lord Brandish. Marlene under her feet called softly, and Brandish raised his foot and stepped on Marlene. I want to eat star mango ice cream. Walking to the bombed-up booth, she turned her head aggrievedly to look at Dieter and his party. Why is the store so messed up? What the hell is going on? Marlene, who was lying on the ground, pointed to Dieter with trembling fingers. It's all okay. Now that you're all hurt like this, let's stop slandering it, okay? Dieter rolled his eyes. Then he saw Brandish smiling and said, Beauty, let your people release our people, okay? Erza et al. Were curious. But I also knew that Dieter's words were indeed meaningful, and they all watched silently. And Brandish sighed, hey, I'm still looking forward to coming here. Adult, go back. Marlene stood up with difficulty. Wait a minute, Lord Brandish. These guys were provoking our soldiers just now, and they might be the ones connecting with other spies. Blanche sobbed, I'm not interested. Just as she was talking, layers of waves were stirred under her feet. It soon spread to the whole island. Boom 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 dash. Sudden. The island under my feet has undergone tremendous changes, and the small island that was originally cooked in the sea has changed its shape. How terrifying is this guy's magic power? Damn it, who the hell is this guy? Erza and Lucy were both quite shocked. This power is not a level that ordinary people can do. Seeing this, Marlene had to throw Mest out of the space. Mest, damn it, what have you done to our partner? Others have endured, but Natsu couldn't bear it at all, and roared at Brandish. However, Brandish turned his head to look at Natsu, and with a wave of his hand, Marlene disappeared. In this way, we also went to a companion, and it was even. After she finished speaking, she continued to walk away. Natsu was angry to take his own companion. Blanche sighed, I hate trouble the most, whether it's spies, or the accomplices who came to join me, I'll take them all out, so don't get close to the western continent. Erza's eyes suddenly narrowed, realizing that the woman in front of him already knew about them. Makarov is still alive, but if you do things you shouldn't do, you don't know what will happen to him. This is my advice to you, stay away from us. The ground shook again. Whoa. The inhabitants of the islands fell into the water. Dieter stepped on the water, a block of ice frozen under his feet. You are very strong, but Elbers thinks that there are 12 people like me. Don't try to hit the stone with an egg_fairy tale. Brandish looked at Dieter's reminder. Soon she left. What? I thought I was going to fight. The corners of Dieter's mouth twitched slightly, and the ice under his feet began to spread around. Let those who fall into the water have a place to stand. After a while, a huge ice surface appeared in the entire ocean, and all those who fell into the water were gasping for breath. And here, Dieter also took Erza back to their ship. Galacel Island disappeared, or got smaller. Erza looked out to sea. Dieter sat on the edge of the boat. Her magic can zoom in and out of objects. It is magic that can change the quality, and the level is very high. There are 12 such people. Albert, Erza and Gray, among others, were a little discouraged. I thought they were super strong after 1 year of training, but I didn't want to be beaten to pieces. Cough cough. Mest sat up from the ground and immediately used teleportation magic to cover the crowd. The next second moved to a palace. Don't panic. My magic. Mest covered his body to comfort everyone. Oh. Here, it's not a means of transport. Wow. Natsu and Wendy came back to life instantly. What is this place? The scenery outside is a little out of place. After the group recovered, immediately after seeing the scene outside, I gasped, and saw countless swimming fish wandering outside, and the air bubbles in the sea were endlessly churning. Mest was paralyzed to the ground in pain. After noticing the expressions of the group, he quickly explained, from a geographical point of view, this is located in the sea off the coast of Galakil Island. What? Several people were stunned again. It felt incredible, especially the location of the palace. What a strange place. The temple in the sea, there is no partition here. It's amazing. What kind of structure is this? Several people walked to the window of the palace and were quite surprised to see all kinds of fish swimming outside. They never thought that this place turned out to be in the sea. It's absolutely comfortable to fish here. It must be 100% hooked. Diet affirms. Boom. At this moment, the earthquake reappeared, and the entire palace trembled violently, like an awakened sea monster. Sing it. Whimper. Natsu and Wen, Nuo Hao, Te cover their mouths again and retch, and the whole palace began to deform, turning from an underwater palace into a traveling submarine. Quickly move across the ocean floor. Welcome everyone. There was a figure in the dark. Come to the mobile temple Olympia. I'm Captain Solo. A woman in a bathing suit appeared on the throne of the palace. This person was once codenamed Angel Solo. She greeted the crowd with a naughty expression on her face. Angel, why are you wearing a swimsuit? Because this is what the sea said. Don't take off all your clothes. People's reactions vary, but they all felt very different about the sudden appearance of a Solo. Don't ask me why I'm here. I owe Master favor, so this will help you. Solo spread his hands. But that doesn't mean we're companions. Where are we going? Is it hell? Natsu and Wendy, who fell to the ground and could no longer stand, asked. Sora looked over and replied, go to Makarof's place. Chapter 199, Confrontation with Zeref. 3 moves can kill you. Albert's Empire. Palace balcony. In the beginning, it was just a small country, but it quickly absorbed many guilds. When I came back to my senses, it had become a huge organization with the name of an empire. Zeref stood on the balcony watching the prosperous kingdom chatter. Is it all about getting Meteor Star Hugh? Behind him, Makarov looked very serious, looking at Zeref's back. There's no need to hide. I know its real name is the top secret big magic above the 3 magics of the goblin, the heart of the goblin. Zeref said. Makarov understands. This way, everything makes sense, because you are Zeref, so the goblin's heart is your real target. Zeref admits, that's right. However, this was decided only recently. Originally, the Empire was only gathering strength to fight against Acronia. It was not my intention to send troops 10 years ago. After all, there are some people in the 12 shields that I cannot control. It was me who stopped them, because the time was not ripe. But Albers is not at a disadvantage against Ishkar or Akuro Nokia. The field of 950 was extremely anxious for a time. Ling-ling-a-ling, it turns out that in your eyes, only Akuro Nokia is your opponent. Sounded. Both Zeref and Makarov hurriedly turned their heads to look over. I saw that the balcony with only 2 people did not know when the third person appeared. Dieter, why are you here? Makarov's face fused, and he subconsciously wanted to attack Zeref to protect him. Surprisingly, Zeref didn't attack. Instead, his eyes were more solemn than ever, and he looked at Dieter and said, indeed, I never regarded anyone as my opponent before Tartaros, but the last time I went to see Akalonia, I found out the cause of his death and serious injuries before I knew Ishkar. There are people like you. Hey? Dieter smiled playfully, stood in front of Makarov and asked curiously, I'm going to take the old man now, will you stop me? Speaking of which, I have never fought with you, but I think it should be no problem to destroy your capital, and if you have all 12 shields, you should be able to kill me after half of the people are killed. Do you want to try? Phew. The wind blew loudly. Even Makarov knew how anxious the atmosphere was at the moment. As long as there is a small movement, it may start a war. Forget it. Let's go. Although I have no interest in taking power, destroying it like this will affect my plans, as long as you can leave this continent. The atmosphere was a little dignified. Zeref turned his head and said, obviously, today's Dieter has grown into an opponent who cannot be underestimated, and is even more reluctant to influence the plan at such a time. Thank you so much. I still really want you and Akuro Nokia to join forces to fight with me, and I hope to have a chance to see it. Dieter smiled. Reach out and grab Makarov flash and leave the place. Dieter? Zeref breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that he had left. He is not afraid of any enemy, but I also learned from Akuro Nokia that it is not easy to kill this human being. Outside the capital, in the middle of the forest, President, Father, President, you're back. Dieter had just appeared with Makarov, and Makarov's eyes widened with a series of voices. You. Makarov's heart warmed after seeing everyone. He said, Zeref is here, on this continent, and I didn't expect that the Emperor was Zeref himself. I found out that this country is Zeref half a year ago, but I didn't find you at that time, otherwise I would have taken you away. Dieter sighed. Makarov took a deep breath. Yeah, it's my naive idea. They didn't plan to negotiate from the beginning. I did not hesitate to commit something that humiliated the history of the guild and came to the western continent. All of this is meaningless. I am really unwilling. CFBB. He lowered his head in extreme frustration, the knuckles of his hands turning white. How can it be pointless? Gray said with a smile. It is because of 1 year that everyone has grown. Lucy also happily replied, we will be able to reunite again. Erza also looked at Makarov and said, I believe that what you do for others is absolutely worthwhile, and that's what you've always taught us. Natsu stretched out his hand on his knees, reaching out in front of Makarov. Let's go back, old man, go back to Fairy Tale. At this time, Xiaolulu hurriedly jumped out. I know you have a lot to say, but the top priority is to get out of here first. Mest over there agrees. I used teleportation too many times in a row before. With my current magic power, I can only move you once. Mest said. Dieter grinned. He could actually take everyone's, but he didn't want to. Mainly wanted to kill a few 12 shields to have fun. I want to use this opportunity to get everyone back to Sono's ship, so we have to go to a place where we can teleport to the ship. Although Dieter's ability is similar to teleportation, the range and the number of people he carries are relatively small, so there is no way to move too many people at once. Mest was busy talking, and seeing Erza and Gray, they seemed to want Dieter to make a move, and hurriedly spoke in a timely manner. Dieter of course kept nodding. Everyone was finally gotten to know each other. Are you going back, Makarov? Did you bring the specialties? The burial is faster than you think. An unfamiliar voice sounded. Several people quickly looked. Makarov lost his voice. Agile, how did you find there? Agile smiled. Fine sand flowing from his palms. Sand is a good thing, it can tell me everything. Erza and Gray are waiting. Of course, they could see the continuous magic power in this person's body, and that powerful magic power is really powerful. Natsu, 12 shields, are alive, seems to kill them. Tilda. I'm on fire. Behind a few people, Dieter swallowed his saliva, his eyes twitching. Hooked shoulder to shoulder with Natsu. Can't wait to appear immediately. Everyone retreats. Our purpose is not to cause war. Erza ordered. Without further ado, he grabbed Dieter's head in his armpit and retreated toward the magic quad. Gray also pulled back with Natsu's vigilance, who wanted everyone. There is only one 12 shield. This is really a good opportunity, my dear, give me a chance. As long as 3 strokes I can kill him. Dieter was still reluctant to leave. But you can't fight too hard, otherwise it will hurt Erza, so you can only say good things and want her to give her a chance. Shut up and don't say such greasy words. Erza's face flushed red. Continued to retreat. Chapter 200. The Ice Age, the frozen desert waves one by one. 3 tricks? Are you kidding? Agile is angry. The sand in front of him boiled and stabbed towards Dieter, annoyed by his contempt. Ouch! What a great sand. Cold air came under Dieter's feet, and he quickly stretched out to freeze the sand. Even Agile was frozen in ice. Couldn't break free for a while. Makarov got in the car and was surprised at the same time. The magic of not seeing Dieter for a year is getting more and more. No wonder Zeref didn't dare to do it before. Boom. When the magic 4x4 drove out, that Agile struggled out of the freeze. His face was dark and he clenched his molars and squeezed out 2 words from his mouth, looking for death. His dignified 12 shields were frozen. Not even being able to break free for the first time is a great shame. Letting the other 12 shields know will definitely laugh at him. This also made him swear to kill the guy who froze him, and control the sand to attack the car that went away. The magic 4-wheeler rushed out. The atmosphere in the car was extremely dignified. He came, Dieter's carefree reminder. As soon as the voice fell, I felt the car fell into a shadow, and I opened the rear window to look. Found a giant sand monster appearing in the sky. That Agile is standing on top of the monster's head, chasing after him. Lucy, get ready to fight, Gray said, climbing through the window and onto the roof of the car to fight. Come back. You are no match for him. Makarov hurriedly stopped. Roof. Gray and Lucy didn't take Makarov's words seriously. The two instantly entered a fighting state. How do you know if you don't try it? You can't let Dieter show off all the time. Doesn't that mean we're too incompetent? Gray said. As a young man in the guild, especially since everyone is about the same age, even though they usually have a very good relationship but still quite young. No one wants to be a protected young eagle, let alone be left too much by Dieter. Relax, old man, 1 year is enough time to change a lot. Everyone has become very strong, even if 2 continents go to war, they are not afraid. If you say something arrogant, I can kill 12 shields alone, what are you afraid of? Dieter comforted leisurely. A year ago, he was enough to single out Akuro, although it was a lose-lose in the end. But it was because Dieter got in. That guy lived 400 years to set a trap for Dieter. Even so, he severely injured Akuro Nokia, not to mention that his abilities have been awakened in the past year. Animals awaken. The combat power enhanced by powerful resilience and terrifying physical strength is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Makarov opened his mouth, but feeling the magic power in Gray and Lucy that is completely different from the previous one, he still didn't say it. Soon his eyes showed great relief. Children really grow to a very strong point. Silver World. Gray made his move instantly. Jiangshi froze the huge desert monster behind him like Dieter. The entire road turned into ice crystals. It's amazing, brother Gray, although he's worse than me, he's still great. Dieter is in the carriage. Applause. Without formal clapping, give Gray a round of applause. You bastard. The corners of Gray's mouth twitched, and he was in the mood to joke at such a serious time, and he really didn't know what to say. That agile is naturally not to be outdone. Leaping from the desert monster, he reached out and hit clumps of sand, and those sands instantly turned into terrifying beasts. The stars flash, and Lucy also shot the arrow feathers in his hand in time, and the arrow feathers scattered very quickly and blasted all the monsters. Fantastic. Agile smiled and disappeared suddenly. Everyone was shocked. Immediately look for Agile's figure around, ready to act at any time. It's down there, it's turned into sand. Diet a timely reminder. But it was still a step slower, and Agile's voice sounded, "And hell." When needed, the surrounding area of the magic four-wheeled vehicle suddenly turned into sand. A sand vortex was formed in the middle, which devoured all the life around it, and plunged the magic four-wheeled vehicle into the sand so that it could not move. Get out of the car, it's rare to have 12 shields, you practice your hands. Dieter kicked the roof of the car and reached out to pull Erza and Xiaolulu out. The other people were embarrassed and quickly fled. Ahahaha, wonderful. Your embarrassed look is amazing. Agile scoffed unbridled. Looking at the embarrassed few people explained, this has killed countless people, engulfed countless towns, and no one can escape, the end of the ant hell. For flowers, listen carefully. Before you die, remember to me, so many mages like you have died in my hands. That's the difference, tower ants. Clap clap. Agile's voice fell, and a series of applause broke out. Dieter applauded him. Seriously, your speech is great, please continue your performance. Boom boom boom. An ant? The sand was evaporated by the furious flames, burning off the clothing covering the badge, revealing the fairy tale badge. Natsu said, sorcerer of this level, enough to beat you. Because we are fairy tale. Boom. Natsu bore the brunt. Gray and Lucy followed suit. Zero. Look at the old man. The children of the past have long been adults in charge, and they are definitely more powerful than you think. Dieter took Makarov back a few steps. Hand the battlefield to them. Yeah, it's really great. Makarov watched with mixed emotions. A few naughty children from the past echoed in my mind. Natsu who secretly burnt his hair, Gray who deliberately mocked Natsu, Erza who was a little adult, Wendy who was shy and timid, and Dieter who was clamoring to be a big brother. They are all grown up. It seems that you still haven't figured out how powerful the Guardian 12 shield is. The raging desert sea raises huge waves. Agile laughed wildly. Be swallowed by the sand of death. The desert ocean devours the land. The hard road was swallowed up by the desert and turned into a part of a huge desert sea. A huge wave more than 10 meters high overturned. Hey, you are careless. Dieter sighed and walked away from Makarov towards the desert ocean. Ice Age. At that moment, Dieter's body was extremely cold. In an instant, the desert ocean that overturned everything was frozen, and the sand waves rushing in the air were completely frozen. Hold your breath. This scene in front of me is deeply shocking. A painting that was more than 10 meters high and seemed to be frozen like a ghostly axe was stopped. The crisis of the stormy waves was instantly lifted. Rao is that everyone has a deep understanding of Dieter's strength, but it has also been completely subverted by this scene. This strength, this powerful ice attribute ability amazes everyone. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.